Good morning, party people. How is everyone? Crazy world, crazy life, crazy things going on. Okay. I have one of those really expensive chairs. It's not mine. It was my dad's. He died, so I took it. I think it's called a Herman Miller, but it's too short. So I need to buy a new pump evolve thing to make it taller. And that's the lowdown on that. I need a taller chair because I can't get any of my shit right, okay? And when it comes to monitoring situations, we really need to have that height to get us through. Best Joanna's always back. We have some serious problems today. The waves, thank you. They're not what I wanted. First of all, I'm getting my hair done on Tuesday. It's going to be huge for all of us. Second, this was me trying to do an interpretation of Margot Robbie's Wuthering Heights press look. Anyone who knows me knows that I hate emerald fennel with a passion unrivaled, unmatched. There's nothing quite like my hatred for that woman. But I am loving the press looks that Margot's got going on. Though, thank God she changed stylists. So this is my interpretation of that. Let's see if I can find it for you. Is it a pixie cut? No. When I'm going to the hairdresser, it's the opposite. I'm getting extensions put in. But not for length. For fatness. I want fat hair. PHAT. Pretty hot and terrific. This. We were going for... I look nothing like this, so don't think I'm delusional. Okay. But this is what we were going for as a look. This was, guys, here you have it, the inspo for the hair. We're doing Wuthering Heights, even though this woman is so old, way too old to be playing this role, way too healthy looking to be playing this role. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, that was the inspo. Okay. So, yes. I don't have hair extensions though, so I couldn't make my hair that long. Also, this is tea. I wanted coffee. But I'm out of coffee. Devastating. Some cheap, shitty waiver lyrical. Not satisfying at all, or very difficult to use. No good. Okay. So, cheap is its own look. This is cheap. Okay? We can't afford expensive as a look. So we have to go with cheap. Okay, let's just say hello to everyone. Hi, pussies. Hi, Tom. Hi, Milu. Hey, Professor Fap. Hey, Drumaka. Hey, Case. Scroll. Hey, Matthew. Hey, Legit Cookie. Cute. Hey, Paddies. Hey, Sheriff. Hey, Tom. Study. Don't focus on this. Good morning, the common good. An air wrap. The thing is, I live between Australia and America. Okay. And hair machinery, like straighteners, hair dryers, any sort of hair machinery, does not work from country to country. So, like, for instance, I have a Dyson blow dryer here. I can't take that to America. It will not work. So I have to work out what the hell I'm going to do. Hey, Ning Nang Nongs. So if I'm going to buy an air wrap or like the shark version of that, which is what I was thinking of getting, I'm going to have to wait till I'm back in the States and buy one there. Otherwise, I'm just going to be buying super expensive hair equipment and abandoning it. That's life. That's life. Okay, guys. Epstein. There are other things for us to talk about as well. Specifically, some things that I want to talk about today, if we get around to it. Because, okay, you know what else I want to do? I really want to look at. Oh my god, my jaw. Never been the same since I looks maxed. Do not looks max. I repeat, do not looks max. So want to look at Epstein. Obviously, want to go over some of the emails, some of my observations, what I think about it. Want to hear what you guys think about it. I want to watch some of the Steve Bannon interview, which has been leaked. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Steve Bannon was working with Jeffrey Epstein to prep him for an interview. With like Good Morning America or something, or 60 Minutes to rehab him. And it's always been spoken about, but it has never been leaked. The dude, I dream of sweet 8-figure YouTube money. Do you want to know what my last? Let me tell you. Let me give you some stats, just so you guys keep it real, okay? About actual ad revenue, not obviously. People are very generous and subscribe and donate, but let me be clear. My last stream, ad revenue was it was ineligible because the music I played at the beginning, it didn't like it. And sometimes I just play stuff. Okay, the last video I actually made, the video about Greenland, made me $15.48. Hell yeah. And then the last live stream where monetization was available made me $4.92. So altogether, that's $20. But my Dark Gothic MAGA video did do pretty well. I think it is lucrative. I just don't get that many views. I was not aware that Jeff had a weird, I assume, fake Britishy accent. I wasn't aware of that either. My big problem is exactly, neoliberal wet dream. My problem with the Epstein files, as someone who stayed up all of last night reading them, is that it's there are some that are funny and you have to be like, this man was a child sex abuser. He actually tortured children and ruined young women's lives. So, hey, Soy Prem. Hey, Teresk. Well, guys, I actually have thought about it. Some of you may not know this. I'm going to start the stream with shelling, okay? I don't want to do it. I don't like doing it. Okay? So just look away while I do this before we get into the Epstein stuff, okay? Look away. I don't want to do it. I've come up with a fun, inventive way to do it, though. I actually already came up with this, and then I abandoned it, and now I'm bringing it back. And I'm going to bring it up back in a major way. I'm going to try and vibe code a website, but I don't know how to do that yet. But anyway, okay. Some of you some of you were around in my early days of streaming in 2021. And you may have been aware that back then I discovered and created the world's first crypto morality. That's right, moral coin. If you are subbed right now to me, you will see an M coin in your emotes. Feel free to spam some M coins because subbing to me actually, it buys you salvation. Thank you, Tria. Thank you guys for your moral coins. You see, this is the thing. Some people say that it is you shouldn't be able to buy your way into. Yeah, thank you guys. See, we've got a lot of righteous people in chat. The thing is, no one ever really considered how important it was to put morality on the blockchain before me. No one really ever considered how important it was to decentralize morality before me. Okay? This is innovation. This is tech morality. I'm thinking in ways that other people aren't thinking. Okay? So just know that it doesn't matter if you're a virtue ethicist, a utilitarian, or a deontologist. Moral Coin encapsulates and works with any kind of moral system that you personally subscribe to. And it buys you morality for the month. You're a good person for the month, the whole month. Anything you do, I can come up with a justification for it for a whole month. So that's it. I'm done. Okay. Now, someone who didn't invest in Moral Coin, Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. Yeah, the thing is, we're still working on we got a candlestick kind of chart going, Tria. And it is interesting. I would say the market for Moral Coin right now is very bullish. Yeah, people say it's indulgences. It is not indulgences because this is on the blockchain. It's decentralized. Okay, it's DAO morality. Okay. This person was not invested in Moral Coin. Jeffrey Epstein. So, what is the difference between morals and ethics? So, morality tends to be a personal system. Ethics tends to be societal as an application, right? So how do we judge things personally versus how do we apply them at a societal level? Okay, guys. We don't need to be talking about morality right now because we're not talking about morality. We're talking about Jeffrey Epstein. This leak. Yeah, okay. So there are a couple of okay. The Elon stuff is really funny. Yes. That's the problem, right? The Elon stuff is funny. The what were some of the funny ones? Like the problem is you can't laugh, so there's no point in it being funny. But like where was it? That was very bad. I don't think I saved any of the funny ones. Okay, also, I should just show you guys this as well. So 404 Media created this website. It's called gmail.world, and it allows you to sort through the emails using a Gmail client, which just makes it much easier. Then you can go to like Elon. So, wait, Elon. Jeffrey Epstein. Yalla. Okay. Now it's not working and it's embarrassing me. Come on. Guys, it does work. Okay, let's just even read it like this. Okay, I also love this crazy way they all type where you can tell they're on Blackberries with these stupid equal signs everywhere. Like, this really was the age of Blackberries. Everyone's forgetting about it. Everyone's like, why are they typing like this? It's like, oh, BBM, guys. Where were you? Is it a good time to visit? Is there a good time to visit? The G stands for Jeffrey. So, here are the things that I think about it. I'm just going to tell you straight up what I am believing about this after reading through a bunch of the emails. Obviously, there is the whole flood the zone thing in the way that they are giving us the documents. So keep in mind, this is still only 3 million documents. That means there are 3 million more that we haven't seen. And that's not counting what I'm interested in, which are the suspicious activity records from JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, and Bank of America that Ron Wyden was looking to get released. Because to me, the crime... I'll come back to this, actually, because this point is going to sound sinister without the rest of it. It is insane that this is only a fraction. It's insane to me that these people can't make up their mind. This is how you know people are rich and powerful, right? There's a certain extent to which they're like, hey guys, we can't have a paper trail. Or they'll be like, guys, I need, like, Prince Andrew will be like, guys, I need a code name. I don't trust this. I need to have a code name. And then his code name is like, he's got a code name, but then he'll say things like, just back from Sandringham. And it's like, okay, why bother? Why bother? Like, hey, remember when we tortured children? Not for email. It's like, commit. It's me with my own internet security. It's like, I can't have the same password for everything. I got to change shit up. And then I start getting like real intense, and I only half do it though. So half of my shit I don't know the password from, and the other half has been the same since like year 7. And we can't work out which is which half the time. But that's their approach to, they can't decide if they want everything written down or nothing written down, which is fun because it means that get a password. I know that's a responsible suggestion, Eddie. Do I look like a responsible woman? We can't trust the password managers anymore. They're unionizing. Hang on, let me read this. We need to be talking about the size of Blondie's desk. It's how did you know it was a big desk? I wish I was a Linux girly. I keep saying I'm spiritually a Linux girly, but in truth I don't know what it is. This Chomsky stuff is so funny to me because Jeff has a bad cokehead energy trying to do race science with Chomsky's linguistics framework, and then Chomsky's just like, yeah, totally, please look at my... He also, like, the way he emails Chomsky is just so funny to me. Like, as someone who, if Noam Chomsky was my professor, the way I would be like, oh, Professor Chomsky, a thought occurred to me today. One based off your insightful article in the Journal of Applied Linguistics, summer of 2003, volume 4. On page 3, you gave the suggestion that blah, and it made me think blah, blah, blah. I know that I'm not well read enough to even be able to start to posit an idea in a field so rich with thought. But if you could direct me to where I might go to learn if this is a sensible line of inquiry or not, I would be incredibly appreciative. Yours eternally, Joanna. And Chomsky's like, thought. Okay, this is genuinely, I'm not going to make many jokes about this, but I do have to make the joke that Epstein's out here email mogging everyone. Everyone's like being super, like, he's got prime ministers, he's got heads of state emailing him being like, hey, we formally invite you to blah, blah, blah. He's like, 23rd? Can't. Soz. Chomsky, idea, thoughts. Wait, where is it? Let me just see if I can find this Chomsky one. Oh, yeah, okay, also, what the fuck is this email to... This is to Peter Thiel. Fun again. I find him unusual. Kant, Spinoza, strategy, operations, full stop. Assassination squad, but assassination squad. Because why spelled correctly? You don't need to. Ice cream. What is happening here? What was this discussion? Also, keep in 2014. That's crazy. Hey, Jedi. Hey, watch. Yeah, so the stuff that I'm really interested in is related to this. But yeah, just quickly. Yeah, his grammar and spelling are bad, Watcher, but like, it's... Some of you have never used a BlackBerry and it shows. Those buttons? Why were they that tiny? We never needed buttons that tiny. And have you seen how fat old men's fingers are? like, I have small, delicate fairy hands and I struggle on a BlackBerry. How are men ever using BlackBerries? I don't think the typos are, I genuinely just think it's Blackberries and laziness. And I think they all probably have the Mark Cuban approach to emails, which is like, get an email, respond. Make it one line, make it quick. Like, don't overthink it. Don't make it formal, because the volume of emails coming in is so massive. It's just like, respond immediately, get rid of it. Why are rich people so creepy? I can tell you the answer to this, genuinely. I gotta wait for my weird transition. Read. The reason that rich people are so creepy is because they view morality as a middle class moray. So morality is for the bourgeois, and libertine ideals are for the wealthy, right? They don't exist on the same to the same standards, that those kind of standards that are imposed on people, that kind of standards of behavior. Once you're a certain level of wealthy, why the hell would they apply to you? No, they don't apply to you anymore. Because, like, one of my friends works in fine dining, and I'm not talking like fine dining, I'm talking like fine dining. And I worked in fine dining too, and I heard some of this, but she works in fine dining in New York. So the people dining in her restaurant are wealthy people. And she tells me things they talk about that would make your stomach turn. It is normal conversation for one to say to another, if you want a 15-year-old, I can get you one. It's super easy if you go to Thailand. Like, this is not, and the opinion about teenage girls, like, first of all, no one gives a fuck about teenage girls. That's just the truth. All of this moral outrage is moral outrage, but the reality is no one's ever given a fuck about teenage girls getting raped or teenage girls being sexualized. They don't care. No one cares. There used to be countdowns about when people would turn 18 so that men would be allowed to sexually fantasize about them. Okay, this is not a new this idea that we're very strict about how we talk about teenage girls. It's new. It was never like this. Hilary Duff, Lindsay Lohan, Miley Cyrus, like, these girls were actively fantasized about. That's true, Polygraph, about the pages. Yeah, and they can afford to get, and that's what I mean, even Eddie, they can afford to get away with it. That's what I mean with this paper trail thing, where they're like, they know they would get in trouble if they were discovered doing what they're doing. But they're also like, what is the likelihood that happens? Like, they don't feel the consequence as like a serious thing they have to contend with. Boredom is another big part of it. Definitely. People have billionaires have assistants. It's more like, Ghislaine was kind of an assistant to Epstein, and Epstein did have assistants, namely, they were young Russian women. They're named in a few of they're named in Maria Farmer's, Farmer and Virginia Giuffre both name the Russian assistants. There's one girl who was trafficked by him at a very young age. Do I have her name written down? Because I did want to talk about her, but I didn't want to focus on it because I didn't want to have to really go into it today. Let me see if I can find it, though. Her story is very sad. But basically, you traffic a young girl, make her your assistant. What you need to do, the problem, okay, here's the truth about assistants and the problem with them. you need to implicate them or they can't be your assistant because they're not doing legal things. So you need to create an incentive structure that ensures that at no stage do they think, this is illegal and very bad. Maybe I should leak this information to someone who can stop it. So you either need them to be in love with you, you need to be in control of their life so that they can't speak out, or you need to have shit on them, implicate them. So then you've got a situation where, Jeffrey Epstein has assistants. He has a bunch of young women, right? But I mean, a lot of these emails are like, okay. I'm sorry, guys. I won't do too many funnies because I understand the severity of this situation, okay? But some stuff... okay, two things I want to show you. Where is it? One is... Tell me I didn't delete it. Okay, there is one in here that I can't find now, but it is definitely in here. And we don't know who it's to, but it's from Jeffrey Epstein. And he's written, "Still no pussy? Be brave." Like, these are the emails that are getting sent. So it's like, why? These are discussions between people that you wouldn't have here. From Jeffrey E. Still no pussy? Be brave. And like, okay, so one of the little girlfriends / probably assistants. This is the last one I'll show you that, maybe there are two more that kind of made me giggle. And then we're not giggling anymore because it's very serious. But you think the emails are fake, Lux? Why bother? Why bother faking these emails when they probably exist? Why is the two redacted? Because it's embarrassing to not have any pussy. Here. Okay. Yeah, Lux, I've got other stuff to say about it. Unfortunately, my job is... Wait, guys, I remembered what we're doing. We're just banning everyone. Yay! Thank you for investing in Moral Coin, Champagne Socialist. You are now actually completely moral for the entire month. That's crazy. Anything you do is completely justified now. And not only is it justified, it's good. So congratulations. Okay, so this is from one of the Russian girls that worked for him. She says, "Dear Jeffrey, you are so intelligent and powerful men. Please tell me what's going to happen with Europe and Eastern Europe." He replies, "It's okay." She replies, "I love your answer. Thank you." Incredible. Okay, so there are some people who are saying that this is like a flood the zone strategy, in that there are fake things in these documents to kind of throw us off. Like maybe some of these are fake so that then, oh my God, wait, I missed a screen. Wait, what happened just then? Thank you, Tria. And guess what? When you gift, you also get complete morality for the month. Crazy? Crazy to think that it works that way. Wait, Case? What happened? Did you... Guys, I need to get a new thing. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tria. I think it was you. I think you get the morality. Case, even though you got the subscription, you actually don't get the morality. That's not how it works. Yeah, exactly. It's nothing, kitten. Okay, yay! Okay, so some people are thinking fake things are being put in the files so that when eventually they'll be able to say, oh, like it's to, this was my first thought. When things were first coming out and they were like, they're eating babies, I was like, oh, okay. So now they're going to fake files and now I have a new thought. Okay. So the files, as I was reading through them, there's a lot in there, right? But there's actually not a lot that is actionable. There's nothing in the files that can be substantiated. And it's super interesting because even that FBI sheet that was put up and then taken down, my biggest conspiracy is there because I think they did that on purpose. I think they both uploaded it and took it down on purpose. First of all, it's a tip sheet, which means nothing on there can be corroborated. Nothing on there is beyond a tip. Anyone could call up. I could call up now and say, Bong and stuff is a pedophile. Like, I could do that, right? And it would be as valid as what's on that tip sheet. So even though it says terrible things about Trump on that sheet, he's got complete ability to be like, yeah, that's just people calling in and saying things about me because I'm a powerful man, right? So the reason they upload it and then take it down is because they want us to believe that they're idiots who don't know how to properly go through they've had the files forever. And you think they just accidentally upload this super incriminating file? No, they don't. They upload it and delete it so that we're like, oh, look, they accidentally put up the bad file. We got access to the bad file. The truth is they've given us stuff that is so graphic, so salacious that we feel like we are getting the dirt that we've demanded. We feel like the DOJ is coming through and telling us stuff that we have asked for. But in actual fact, we're not being told anything. There's nothing in these files. There is nothing beyond what we already... And guys, this is what I said in my first piece about Epstein, and I maintain it's the truth. Come on, guys. Everyone knows that Trump is a sexual criminal. They knew before the 2016 election. You're not going to have anything come out in these files about Trump that is going to make people change their mind. The crime is in the financial area. It's not like, that's not to minimize the pain that these women have been through. That's not to minimize the sex trafficking. All of that is true. All of it is true. It's horrific. It's to remind you that no one has ever given a fuck about teenage girls, and that's not going to suddenly start now. And as I said in my piece, whatever sexual crime Donald Trump has committed that is included in these files, MAGA has already forgiven him in their minds. They already know. Everyone knows that there's something bad about him in those files. We don't need to see it to believe it. Everyone knows. But MAGA have already forgiven him in their mind. So it coming out isn't going to... And this is my big thing. Everyone's like, release the documents. And I'm like, to do what? To do what? Right? Because this is the thing. It's like... This is me being super rude about Republicans right now. So if you're a Republican, okay? Just for a minute while I say something a bit rude. Republicans are forgiving their dads for raping their sisters, okay? They're forgiving their pastors for raping children in the churches, Okay, so if you're able to forgive your dad and your brother, you're going to be able to forgive the president. Okay, there are people a lot closer to them that they're willing to forgive for these crimes. So I tell you with 100% faith in what I'm saying, they will forgive the president for having sex with a hot 15-year-old who could have looked older. Okay, they don't care. This is, hang on. Why are they, the bank records, that's, to me, that's what's interesting, the suspicious activity records. Because when I started doing my red string stuff on Jeffrey Epstein, the money is the problem. The money is where the crime is. And I think a lot of the money has ended up in tech. And I want to see it. The problem is, and this comes back to, I can't remember who asked about the redacting. Yeah, exactly. Pussies. Yeah, you're not undermining SA. Society already did that. Yeah, exactly. Where is it? Hey, Ali. Oh, I know you're all jealous of that. It was Millie Yali, the redacting. The problem is, and this is like, yeah, sorry, it took me so long to find your name. The problem is when you get to certain levels of like wealth and power, everyone just knows one another and everyone gets really intertwined. So for instance, with the suspicious activity records, you've got JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, Bank of America, three of the biggest banks in America, all working with Epstein after he's gone to prison, after internal documents have been circulated saying, guys, so when Bernie Madoff goes down, JP Morgan do a big audit and they want to get rid of any clients that may cause reputational damage. Jeffrey Epstein is explicitly spoken about. They explicitly say, guys, you can't hear me? You're a troll. You guys, can you hear me? Does Cartel need to go to prison? Yeah. Prison for you, sir. Okay. So Jeffrey Epstein is specifically spoken about in terms of someone that they should no longer do business with. But what happens? They continue to do business with him. And is it JP? JP is not his personal banker. I need to, guys, I need to consult myself. Where is my Epstein article? Sorry, just give me a second. It's more than they just do business with him. Latest, did I? Oh, no, I'm in the... Oh, I thought, guys, I literally thought they'd come for me. I was like, where is my information? Wait. Why are you asking me to buy it? First of all, I turned off paid subscriptions. Second of all, it's my account. Everyone wait. I'm going to get the name. Today is not... We're in February. We're trying to start the month right, computer. This is not how we do that. Okay, don't worry. It's a very long piece. I'm thorough. Okay. You know what? I give up. It doesn't matter. Whoever is... No, I'll just ask the internet. Who is Jeffrey Epstein's private wealth manager at JP Morgan. Whoever this guy is also, just so you're aware, Jess Stanley. Okay, Staley. So Jess Staley is the private wealth manager for Jeffrey Epstein. Not only do they keep Jeffrey Epstein on as a client, Jess Staley is also Donald Trump's personal wealth manager, private wealth manager, but Jess Staley goes and visits Jeffrey Epstein in prison multiple times while he is in prison. Exactly. This is a problem though, right? Is when you've got Jamie Dimon being a problem, JP Morgan being a problem, Deutsche Bank, Bank of America. Once you start digging there, this is the problem, and this is why the redactions are there, right? Everyone is interconnected, and once one person starts going down, that's how you have a house of cards, and that's done intentionally by someone like Jeffrey Epstein. You get everyone implicated in something slightly bad, and then no one can, like, because people keep saying, like, why did the Biden administration sit on this and no one did anything? It's like, you're kind of fucked because you've got to work out not just how to build a case, but for instance, depending on what's in those suspicious activity records relating to the banks, how do you build a case that doesn't completely undermine the global financial system? It's stressful. And so the things that I found very interesting, hang on, let me go up and just check that I haven't missed anything important. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm not as good as I used to be at reading the chat because I'm old now. Age has gotten the better of me. I'm not fast anymore. I do it. I just do it. I'm making a soundboard as well, guys. Yeah. I do fun things when I'm not on here. I'm planning fun things. He worked there. So Jess Stanley worked before he moved over to an American bank where he lost his license, by the way. He worked as an advisor at JP Morgan, and he was in charge of the private wealth division. And at the time, literally the same time, like the same day, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein open bank accounts with JP Morgan. They both leave Deutsche Bank. Things that make you go, I know, but if the whole way that you get reelected is by saying, like, pussies, if the whole way is like, oh, the economy is good, I think my favorite sound is always going to be, that means you're gay. I don't think Biden's in the files. This is what I find really interesting too, though, okay? So, wait, I wrote down a list of the things. I'm working. It's 212, guys. That's New York's time code, New York's area code. Okay. I wrote down a list of things that I find interesting. Amazing. And I deleted it. That's me. Always working. Always on top of things. Okay. Yeah, it gives everyone the feeling that they're getting the dirt they're demanding because of how graphic the accounts are, but actually nothing is being delivered. So all files released are salacious, but easy to discredit and totally unactionable. Okay, so this is what was, the Israel stuff for Biden, like people, Trump is very pro-Israel because of what it means for him in terms of business, right? A lot of business, and you can see that in the files as well, just like in terms of business, not necessarily pedophilia. Ehud Barak makes a lot of business happen between Israel and other people. However, Thank you, Adrian. However, Biden's commitment to Israel is really one of the heart. I have always maintained that Biden is the most pro-Israel president America has ever had. I believe his commitment to Israel is very genuine. So it's crazy. Yeah, Ali, do you mind doing that? Because the link I have is uploaded to Twitter. The video is uploaded by someone called and it's retweeted by someone called Young Putin. So I'd rather not watch it there if we can get a link somewhere else. Okay, so the things I found interesting in the files, though, given that I don't believe the files have anything in them that is actionable. Also, just quickly, can you guys wait 2 seconds? 2 seconds. This chat is upsetting to me, and I can do things. You know, the great thing about live streaming is you can do things literally while you're live. I am capable. I am capable. I can do things. Or maybe I cannot. I am capable. I am capable. I am capable. Okay, amazing. I think I fixed it. Hell yeah. And let me just make that a little bit larger so that we can pay attention to it. I am capable. I am capable. I am capable. Amazing. Okay, now. This is what I thought was interesting, given that there's nothing substantial in the files. I know. Don't clip me saying that as if I'm saying that it doesn't matter that people are being sexually trafficked. Obviously, I care a lot about that, okay? Guys, I can't link the... Wait, I can. I can link the Discord. I am capable. I am capable. The Discord is on my... The Discord is on my... Wow, does that work now? Otherwise, it's that. Do I need to fix that? Okay. Okay. I'll fix it. Okay, I'm capable and I will fix it later. Okay. So, given there's nothing substantial in there, outside of the obviously horrific details we have, but in terms of anything that is actionable against people in the administration or who were connected to, yay! Thank you for investing in Moral Coin, Sheriff. You've done a real good thing. None of this is going to be put into the counter because I'm not that capable yet, okay? But hell yes, that seems like a lot. It seems like a lot. Thank you very much. Your morality has skyrocketed for the month. Everything you do is permissible, not only permissible, but good. Your gifts have been registered on the blockchain. Nothing concrete in there. Thank you, Matthew. Yes, thank you for helping with that phrasing. I am, guys, Moral Coin, it's going up. It's going to the moon. Feeling very bullish about Moral Coin. This is a great way to start February. Thank you very much. Sheriff going all in on Moral Coin, and he's going to see dividends. It's sort of like XRP. It's you got to just write it out. You'll see. Okay, so because there's nothing I pressed my keyboard. Because there's nothing concrete in the files that can lead to anything actionable, this is what I personally found interesting. First of all, the administration using these files to hang certain people out to dry, right? It is a choice. It is a choice about whose names were kind of included and embarrassed. So for instance, Elon Musk being dragged through the files. Of course he's going to say they're fake. They're not fake, guys. Girls for the win! Very Elon coded. That is a real Elon email. He wishes it wasn't. I understand why he wishes it wasn't. Okay? But it's there. And I will at some point, Sheriff. I don't know how to do it right now. I'm not capable. Unfortunately, so Elon is getting punished by the administration. So is Bill Gates, right? So we've got two big tech people being punished by the admin for their misbehavior, right? Also, Jason, fuck. There are so many of these tech people I just hate. Okay. Jason Calacanis, the guy from the All In podcast, you know, All In, that it's literally so dystopian to me. The billionaires sitting around talking about tech. Jason Calacanis, Calacanis. He is one of the All In podcast guys. Oh my God, he looks so lame. Jesus, these people are lame. But Jason Calacanis, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, all very wealthy men who backed the Trump administration coming into power, but have maybe misbehaved or criticized a little bit since. They're all being exposed in the files. Not in any way that is... Nothing in there, it's embarrassing, right? What is coming out about them is like, you know, with Jason Calacanis, it's kind of like, it's like getting your sexts leaked, right? So, thank you. Millie Ali, exactly. That's what you I listen to the freaks and then I report back. It's like embarrassing enough that it's kind of like a shot across the bow. I'm not a boat girl. The bow? The bow? The bow? Yeah, it's whipping them into line. Remember who's in charge. Remember that we have things on you. Remember we can sink you in a moment. The other person who's fucked in the files, Howard Lutnick, Secretary of Commerce. And this one's really interesting to me because something I am fascinated in is the bow. Bow wow. Had it right. Thanks, guys. Boat guy. Thanks, guys. I'm a boat girl now. Oh, Howard Lutnick. Sorry, that was me remembering. Sometimes it has to be a physical thing that's done. Howard Lutnick is the Secretary of Commerce. He also lived next to Jeffrey Epstein in Palm Springs, or wherever Mar-a-Lago is. I can't remember off the top of my head. He lives next to him, right? They are neighbors. Now, Howard Lutnick said that he met Jeffrey Epstein in 2005 and was so disgusted by him as a person that he never met him again. This is proven to be categorically untrue. Now, the reason I am interested in this, and I have to spend more time researching it, and I'll probably write a piece on it, if you so happened to be... Okay, first of all, 222. Everyone, angel numbers. Angel numbers. So, Howard Lutnick is from that bank firm private equity thing that was at the top of the towers. Okay. But he is also the money manager for Tether. Tether is a cryptocurrency that is a stable coin. Press X to doubt. Tether is basically... You guys don't need to learn anything about crypto. I'm just going to tell you this, okay? Tether is the currency of criminals. If you are avoiding sanctions, if you are the cartel, if you are doing drug shit, if you are doing anything bad ever, you're doing it with Tether. Tether is the naughty crypto. Tether is the bad crypto. It's where the criminals go. Who manages Tether's money? Howard Lutnick. What happens when he becomes Secretary of Commerce? He divests, of course, by giving all of the money and investments in Tether and management of Tether over to his sons. Total divestment. Duh. Now, the thing that interests me is that I am positive. And a lot of stuff came out recently. Hey, short stack goblin. A lot of stuff came out in this latest drop about, as I suspected, Jeffrey Epstein being very involved in cryptocurrency really early, because he was talking to Brock. He was talking to a lot of the people. Brock Pierce, who was an early crypto guy. He went to early crypto conferences. He was doing all that tech-based stuff. I just know this is a guy who, famous to you for sex trafficking, famous to the world for sex trafficking, but that hides what he's famous to rich people for, which is money laundering. He is famous for hiding money. That's why all these rich people went to him. How do we hide our money? How do we evade taxes? How do we put our money in places that people don't see it? And when we looked at his estate, I was just like, there's no way. There's no way this is all of his money. I know in my soul. And you just got to trust me on this one. I have absolutely no evidence for it. I know in my soul he has money in crypto somewhere. Okay? I will find the Epstein cryptos. Okay? Moral coin. This is an existential battle between moral coin and wherever Epstein's money is in crypto, because I know it's there. This man's entire career was based on shadow banking. Shadow banking, cryptocurrency. I can't shake my hands like this, but let me tell you, these things, they work together. I'm telling you, this motherfucker's in crypto. But anyway, it is interesting to me that they're hanging Howard Lutnick out to dry. Something's not happening with the economy the way that Donald Trump wants it to happen. So, warning shot to Howard Lutnick. The other person I thought was interesting who was in there? Moral is the anti-tether. Moral will set you free. Don't get tethered to the cabal. Get tethered to morality. Untether yourself. Untether your soul from sin. Get yourself on the most ethical blockchain that exists. This is a DAO for the soul. Okay? Yeah, I really think the fiat debasement is, I also wrote about this, but I feel like I write conspiracy theories out, I put them out into the ether, months go by, they become a little bit more relevant, but I'm just like out here talking crazy to myself. I do think there's an attempt to, I think Trump wants to, okay, this is crazy talk, but this is what you come here for. Trump wants to debase fiat and replace USD with USD1, his own coin. He wants to replace normal currency with stable coins. I believe this is the big plan. Now, do I think it will happen? I don't know. I don't know if he's smart enough. Probably not. But I wrote a whole piece on it. Goodbye USD, hello USD1. Okay, I believe this is the long-term plan. I think if you're not watching crypto, you're stupid. Yes, it does. Common good. I'm very worried about, I actually wanted to talk about money today, but you know, we only have so much time to talk about so many things. I wanted to look at the Fed chair, and I wanted to look, something real bad has happened with JP Morgan and their silver. Did I save it? Yeah, I save so many things in a day. Things that make me go, I just save them. And I think I might come back here because this seems bad. There is something. Oh, also, that girl that I was referring to before, Nadia Markinkova, Nadia Markinkova, she's the one. Yeah, I don't want to be like, I'm being shadow banned, because it's truly just like I'm not a big creator. So, of course, my ideas aren't going to get out there. Maybe that's a blessing and a curse, because maybe I'm crazy. This is where some of my ideas are. How many tabs do I have open? Where? On my computer or in my brain? I think Gates will swap back to the Dems, definitely. Lutnick will stick with it because he's all in. There's nothing he can really do. The other interesting blow in the files, Casey Wasserman, who is the head of the Olympic board, which makes me think that Trump is trying to get out of hosting the LA Olympics. Personally, that's upsetting to me. I want to go to the LA Olympics. I had plans to go to Los Angeles for those Olympics. In my mind, I was going. But now I'm getting the sense that those Olympics are not on the agenda for Donald Trump, and he wants out of them. So Casey Wasserman's in there. Now, there actually was something very interesting to me in the Elon emails that alluded to something. I don't know if... Okay, so let me explain. You gotta really be into Epstein to get where I'm about to take you. Okay. There are logs for Jeffrey Epstein's plane. We all know that. We're all looking. You've got to be so careful about your hands, guys. Just be doing things, you know? There are logs for Jeffrey Epstein's private plane. Everyone's like, oh, who's on the flight logs? Who's on the flight logs? Who's on the flight logs? But Jeffrey Epstein also had a helicopter, a chopper. Okay? No logs for the chopper. No logs for the chopper. In the 90s, Donald Trump spent a lot of time in St. Martin, an island in the Caribbean. Caribbean to some, Caribbean to me. Now, why go to St. Martin when you have a beautiful house in Mar-a-Lago? Temperature is the same. Convenience much higher in Mar-a-Lago. Why go to the Caribbean? In the emails between Elon and Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein says to Elon, I will come and pick you up from St. Bart's and take you back to Little St. James. This is huge news for Epstein heads like me because St. Martin and St. Bart's are about the same distance from Little St. James. Okay? Which means it is now, we know not only is the trip possible, it's about an hour. Not only is the trip possible, Jeffrey is willing to do it. Okay? Because no one is allowed to fly their own chopper. Only Jeffrey Epstein flies his chopper in and out because he doesn't have any, no one lands on Little St. James except for Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? But now we have an indication that not only is the trip possible at that distance for Jeffrey Epstein's chopper, but he was willing to do it because he offered to do it for Jeffrey Epstein. He said, I will, for Elon Musk, he said, I'll come and get you. So that's another thing that I found super interesting in the files. Because I was like, okay, well, to me, this confirms that Donald Trump was at Little St. James in the 90s. It's not anything that I can take to anyone and say, look, it's a flight log. You know, it's definitely not that. But it confirms that when he was going to St. Martin's, there's absolutely nothing to suggest that he wasn't then being choppered out to Little St. James. So that was interesting to me. That was part 2 that was interesting to me in the files. Part 1, who's being hung out to dry. Part 2, chopper confirmation. Now, part 3, the Chris Paul conversations. Chris Paul. So Chris Paul is the guy who starts the poll board on 4chan. Palm Beach. Thank you, Ali Cattails. I am so Australian. Okay? Try my best. The reason I say Palm Springs is because that's where I'd like to go. I want to go to Coachella. Palm Springs, baby. I do not want to go to Palm Beach, where the pedophiles are. So, I am very interested. For those of you who don't know, and this is something I couldn't put in my original article, but it's something that, okay. Let me cook for a minute. I actually think Ghislaine Maxwell is guilty of stuff that you don't even want to know about, because I'm talking about outside of the sex crime stuff. Her talents that exist within the world of tech are so immense. And maybe I'll just write behind every great man is an even sneakier woman. Maybe I'll just write a piece about Ghislaine. The thing is, Ghislaine's connections, later in life, they were like, oh, what do you do for work? And she was like, the internet. She's always said she does computer tech stuff, right? Her sisters are all in computer tech. All of them are in like spyware. All of them are in computerware. All of them are in stuff you don't even know about, okay? Ghislaine is in the tech space area. Now, some of you don't know this. Yes, exactly, Snapper. She was a hugely influential Reddit mod. The first person to get a $1 million, I don't know how Reddit works. The whole Maxwell family is in tech. So Maxwell owned Prism. Prism is the precursor basically for Palantir. All of the sort of tech space, the spy tech space, is Maxwell owned. I'm gonna have to. But the problem is, I sound crazy when I write this stuff. I sound crazy, but I know I'm right. I sound insane, but I'm telling you that this is where it all is. Ghislaine. So Ghislaine is the first Reddit mod to reach 1 million karma. She's a moderator on Poll. She's a moderator on Tech. She's a moderator in one other place. If you look at some of the stuff that she's posted, all very strange, okay? So you have Ghislaine Maxwell as like the number one Reddit moderator, just in her spare time. Okay? Okay, that is my dream, Ali. Thank you so much, Scooter. But that is my dream. I want a house in Joshua Tree. Well, we don't know. Peter Thiel, this is what we know about Peter Thiel from the files. Fun again. I find him unusual. Kant, Spinoza, strategy, operations, Assinesh, Ton Squad, ice cream. 2014. So, but anyway, she's involved with Prism. Her sisters are in tech too. There's a whole, God, I need to get back to my notes. This is the other problem. When I have such incredible foresight, I put it all in my head. And then you know that scene in Inside Out where they get the vacuum and they take out some of the presidents? That's me with all of my information. But I'm telling you, when it comes to the internet, okay, and this is the other thing. Oh! Okay, I know what my next piece is going to be on. I've got so many pieces to write, so many things to do. Ehud Barak talking all the time to Jeffrey Epstein. So a lot of what he knows is, hey, this is where you put your money to skirt financial requirements in terms of tax. This is where I can hide your money, right? This is what I can do. Awesome. Then it occurs to some people, hey, we don't just want to skirt tax law, we'd like to skirt law. So we have some very sussy intelligence technology that we would like to use, but unfortunately, it would go against the Constitution. It would violate the Bill of Rights. So you can actually make some very strange connections between stuff in these emails, stuff Ghislaine has worked on, and stuff that Edward Snowden kind of leaked on. So not only was he telling people this is how you skirt tax law, he's like, this is how you skirt law. So what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate your intelligence tech company in Little St. James. That's not an American company. It doesn't have to follow American laws. And what we'll do is we'll do all the data mining, the illegal bit, and then we'll give it to you to do the sorting, because that's fine. So I think there's some tech stuff in there that's super questionable. There are three things that I'm interested in when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. The sex trafficking, absolutely, incredibly devastating. Yes. My interest, Bitcoin, intelligence tech, and biotech. And I believe the entire financial fucking... do you want to hear? Okay. My biggest conspiracy about Jeffrey Epstein. This is me putting on my tin hat, okay? Did I get the tin hat? Guys, my friend was drawing me some emotes, but then the emotes were too small, maybe? Okay, I'm getting a cow with a tinfoil hat on though, specifically for these kinds of moments. Make a video on it. I know, but I'm going to sound crazy. You have to send it to all your friends. Okay, I'll make a video. I'll do it. You've twisted my arm. But this won't be in the video. This is special for you guys who are here right now. And I don't have the evidence, so you're not going to believe me but the evidence does exist. Okay, the evidence does exist. I just don't have it in front of me now. But if you gave me a day to get the evidence, I could get it for you. So, thank you, Nick Pick. Crazy just means I'm early. Yeah, I'm never wrong, only ever early. But this is late because this is about history. But maybe I'll be proven right, inshallah. Okay. When there is a company called Liquid Funding that I don't know. I don't have a sense of that at the moment, dude. Okay, there's a company called Liquid Funding that Jeffrey Epstein is the director of. He also owns 40%. Sorry. He's the executive director, and all we know about that company, which we know through the the Paradise Papers, all we know about that company is that Bear Stearns owns 60%. Okay? He's in charge. We can assume he owns the other 40%. Now, at the exact same time that Jeffrey Epstein is having meetings with Acosta to get a deal for his jail sentence, it leaks. The information about the Bear Stearns equity fund starting to fail leaks. Now, if you look at Jeffrey Epstein's history, he's involved in the Towers Financial rug pull. He's involved in the rug pull when he's working at Bear Stearns originally, right? So basically, he's very good at extracting money, going into a company, setting up a Ponzi scheme, and getting out with a whole lot of money. I don't have the exact details, but there's a working theory I have that Jeffrey Epstein may have caused the global financial crisis. Because I think he offered up information on Bear Stearns and the subprime mortgages in order to get a sweetheart deal. Because if you look at the dates and the times that things are happening, it's very suspicious. But that's that is genuinely... And I have things to say about Epstein being like, well, he got the Iran-Contra money and he, he was selling arms to Britain, between Saudi and Britain, and he was taking the money there. Like, I have crazy things to say about Epstein where I'm like, no, I'm 100% right on that. And I would, But this is my craziest thing, and I still think I'm correct. I think that he ratted on Bear Stearns because guess what? Guess who then walked away with a whole lot of money? Guess who got bailed out in the GFC? Adrian, it's that he leaked the info. Oh God, I wish I could remember what this theory was that I had. I told someone about it and they told me I was crazy and I lack confidence in myself. And so when people do that to me, I give up on things. But I'm 100 on this. It's the first. Look, I don't remember, but I'll remember, okay? That may be the collusion is there, right? But what flicks the domino? What starts it? How does the Bear Stearns private equity firm that fails, the thing that starts the whole thing, the very first private equity firm that's part of Bear Stearns that fails in 2008, leaks to the media. Word starts getting around, and then people start pulling their funds. The hedge fund, the very first hedge fund. Anyway, it's just crazy because he's also works very closely with JP Morgan. JP Morgan acquired Bear Stearns. Anyway, I think because JP Morgan end up acquiring Bear Stearns for a crazy low price. Thank you, Joy. This is how it should be. But yeah, all of that. Anyway, my point is, Ghislaine is naughty. She shouldn't be allowed out of prison. It's nothing to do with her sex crimes and everything to do with her fingers in tech, specifically in intelligence tech. You let her out, you'll see what I'm talking about. But this is partly why they can't release everything because it's all there. Jeffrey's hidden money in Bitcoin or some kind of cryptocurrency, if not, probably not Bitcoin, probably some weird currency. Because Brock Pierce, what was he pushing? Because we know for a fact that he was having a lot of shit with Brock Pierce. JP Morgan used to go and visit him. Jess Stanley used to go and visit him in prison in person. Bitcoin cryptocurrency. Blockchain. Mastercoin. This is the thing as well. We have to work out. Tether had a different name originally. Tether wasn't Tether. It was WorldCoin. Yeah, Tether. So Pierce was the co-founder of Tether. I think the money's in Tether. I think it's not so much that Biden was sleeping, it's that it's working out how you can bring criminal charges without completely collapsing the entire world. Like, I don't think people realize how many people are caught up in this. Oh yeah, and so that was actually my other piece of interest. So I'm interested in the fact that Donald Trump almost certainly was chopped out to Little St. James. Allegedly, no proof of that, just for entertainment purposes. I have nothing to base this on. Haha, funny jokes. But imagine if in my jokes it was suggested that Elon Musk was getting chopped out from St. Bart's, so why not chopper out Trump from St. Martin? I'm interested in who he's hanging out to dry, particularly in terms of the tech guys and Lutnick. I'm interested, and Elon. I'm interested in oh yeah, this is the other thing that we were interested in, guys, from reading the files. The poll stuff. So the day that the poll board launches, Jeffrey Epstein is being introduced to the guy who runs the poll board. This is important because we know that Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon worked together a lot. We know that Jeffrey Epstein wanted Trump in as president. And we know that mimetic warfare, if you happen to watch my video on MAGA Magic, you'll see the impact that 4chan had on getting Donald Trump into the presidency in his first administration. And to be honest, I think the mimetic warfare that kind of was born in that poll board on 4chan has fundamentally changed and damaged politics as we know it. So to me, the idea that Jeffrey Epstein was like, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to get the presidency using memes, and we're going to fully do it like we're going to control Reddit and poll. Like, to me, the influence of what they're doing in the online sphere is super interesting to me. It doesn't mean that, right? The rich all got their money back. The blue collar worker got screwed. I don't know what that refers to. I think that if you're talking about what I was talking about in terms of Kevin, you don't even want to know who's running, who they're putting up after Powell. You know how, okay, wait, I'll tell you in a second. Hang on. Let me finish one thought. You guys, there's so many conspiracy things to do. There's so many important conspiracy things to go through, and we're running too fast. Slow down. Also, guys, invest in Moral Coin now. Now. Yeah, this is my point, right? The GFC. So, Ali, I think with Towers Financial and the other, and oh my God, that guy went to prison and Jeffrey Epstein didn't, but he was involved. I wrote so many things about all of these things, and now I can't remember anything's name. Jesus Christ. We can say Jesus Christ because we have Moral Coin. In his early days, Towers Financial was one of the first ones. He did the Stephen Hoffenberg while he was at Bear Stearns. Basically, thank you for investing in Moral Coin, Kevin. You are absolved. And now we have angel numbers on the screen, and we love to see it. This is very good for us. Okay? So, thank you. We're all more moral because of it as well, because the candlestick chart went up. Jeez, Joe, think about. Oh yeah, my point is. Jeffrey Epstein is really good at rug pulls. That's what he is good at. He's good at Ponzi schemes. He's good at setting something up, building it, getting a whole lot of people to put money in it, extracting that money, and then the thing failing. So the idea with liquid funding and Bear Stearns being reimbursed for everything that failed there is that was always intended. He knew that they would be reimbursed. It was created in a way where he knew the banks would be bailed out. So in my mind, yes, the little guy got screwed. Jeffrey Epstein didn't get screwed though, and neither did Bear Stearns. And that was all known before it happened. Okay. Now just quickly, I wanted you to know, Kevin, that Wash, the guy who's being put up to be the Fed chair, if I recall, is also, the son-in-law of Ron Lauder, who is Trump's good friend, but most importantly, he is, yay! Thank you for investing in Moral Coin. We are so bullish today, guys. We are bullish. The stonks are going up. We're going to the moon, and everyone will reach the moon where heaven is, from what I've been told. And everyone will be moral. And congratulations, Victorious, because everything you do for the next month will be morally good. Others may say no, but they don't know because they're not invested in the only blockchain morality. Okay. So Ron Lauder is the guy that told Donald Trump to buy Greenland. He's the guy that was like, buy Greenland. And now his son-in-law is being put in charge of the Fed. It's crazy, guys. That's so crazy. Because I think I hate it when, you know what I hate? I hate it when I have to break it to my friend that I'm not going to be able to buy them Greenland. And instead I'm just going to have to do a renewed agreement with them, as Joanna Richards predicted, because that's what she does. She predicts. I hate that I'm going to have to do a renewed agreement as predicted by Joanna Richards instead of straight out owning Greenland. But to make it up to him, I'm going to let his son-in-law run the Fed. And then in return for that, he might do things for me. Maybe. But maybe we're wrong. And I'm hoping that Adrian's right and that it's just a false flag. And that an actual guy's going to be put up. But who knows? Who knows? Because I like putting my friend's sons up. I think it works well when I put my friend's sons up. Oh yeah, but my point is the poll stuff and starting that kind of like mimetic warfare, which fundamentally changed politics forever. When you consider his relationship with Steve Bannon, and then you look at the poll stuff going up, and then you look at Ghislaine Maxwell being the biggest mod ever on Reddit. So crazy. But that's life, guys. That's life in this kooky dooky world. Anyway, here's what's going to happen. We being you guys and me, we are going to watch a little bit of the Steve Bannon stuff, I think. But first, I'm just going to leave you for one moment to go and get a Pepsi. Is that okay? I would be drinking Diet Pepsi, as Queen Addison insists, but they don't sell that in Australia, so I have to settle for a Pepsi Max. Do you think, because Dems win in 2028, but they also lack political cojones to overturn a lot of these policies, does America... Guys, everyone's so confident that all the elections are going to be good. I'm not. I am not. Everyone's like, you know when the Dems win? No. I'm not working off that assumption. Like, I get that everyone's like, this is obviously the Dems are going to win. I don't know, you haven't a free and fair election. I don't even know you'll know that it's stolen. I will miss democracy when it leaves us. Like, I get that. I'm hoping with I've got the IRI hopium. Can you show your cup again? Which one? It's not even about the quality of the candidate. It's not that I'm like, oh, who are they going to vote for? I'm like, okay, Democrats could get every single vote in America. But if it's going through some shit like Starlink, I'm sorry. I want to drink Coca-Cola, but I just didn't buy it this time, okay? So it's not in the house. I'm not like, look, Newsom might win. Astrologically, Newsom will probably win. Okay? So if you're asking me my opinion based on the stars, Newsom comes out as president in 2028. If you're asking me my opinion based on my gut, I don't know, my homies. Astrologically, Newsom. Joanna's stomach? Not good. Okay. Let me put on some beautiful Hong Kong trip hop for you guys while I go and get myself a beverage. The problem with AOC running, which is my dream as well, But if they rig the election and make it look like she loses, everyone will be like, of course she lost. It's because she's a Latina. A woman and a minority, they tried it again. They're ridiculous. Don't they know that's never going to work? I think they're going to happen and they're going to look like they were legitimate and fair, but I don't think they will be. And unfortunately, there's no way that I'm going to be able to prove that because I look crazy no matter what. But I'm willing to look crazy these days. Clavicular single-handedly, Matthew, killed Vance's political future with that one statement, because you just know all the tech guys got together when they had their New Year's party and they were like, Vance is done. Vance is out. Vance is over. They've all moved to Marco. Marco, in the next 2 months, is going to start peptides. By the time we get to 2028, he will have taken over Cuba. He'll be the president of Cuba. He'll be mogging because he'll have been on that Redder and that JQUHCB, and he's going to be mogging. He's going to be the king of Cuba, and they're going to run with him. Anyway, I'm going to give you some beautiful Hong Kong trip hop and cows while I go and get a... It's over. But guess what, guys? So excited to announce that this portion... Hang on, let me sit on my chair. Who would I want to see at Coachella? Well, now that Kanye's back. Addison Rae, obviously. Okay. This portion of the stream is sponsored by Pepsi. They don't formally sponsor me, but maybe if I do it for free long enough, eventually they will. This used to be a Diet Coke only stream, but times have changed. I've changed. Rubio will be the Shah of Cuba. Bye, Sonu. Guys, my hair is too thin to hold anything, okay? It is fine, fine hair. Okay, we are watching. That Coke went down weird. We're going to watch Jeffrey Epstein for a little while being interviewed by Steve Bannon. Just two of the best guys, you know? When I think, who do I want to see in conversation? Actors in conversation. Who do I want to see? Who do I want to see sit down and have a chat? Probably these two guys. Personally. I don't know. What do you guys think? If I make it full screen, do we lose him? No, perfect. Oh my god, he's too close to me. Hang on. I'm gonna move that so that's correct. There we go. So they tell you. How did I get converted to Pepsi? Other members of my household said they didn't like Coke anymore.
Before we get into the deep stuff, let's give some basics or some things I want to do, inquire from the others. Walk me through the Santa Fe Institute. What was it about the time of the math? And this was in the late 90s. So they're not going to hear me on this part, right? We're going to do it both ways?
Don't look at my
It will
cell.
not be on the video, but
Santa Fe Institute. Do we know what Santa Fe Institute is? I'm struggling to place it. I'm sorry to let you know. He's already gone.
we do have you recorded.
Fine. Remember, when you're answering on these questions, I'm not in the shot, and they're never going to hear my voice. So a little bit you got to repeat
because I don't want anyone to associate me with you, so I won't be here.
Answer, you got to repeat what my question was.
Also, just quickly, guys, so you know, this is 2 hours, but if recollection serves, weren't there 4 hours?
A little bit.
Okay.
Santa Fe Institute. Why?
So, pussies, this interview with Epstein is crazy. Steve Bannon offered to do PR prep with him to rehabilitate him after his time in prison. So this is Steve Bannon trying to do like PR, let's get these interviews out so this is not even like, oh, he went on Good Morning America. This is like the worst guy you know wants to help the worst guy he knows. Make people think they're not the worst guys ever.
When you're at the top of your game on Wall Street, do you decide to finance, which was at the time, or endow, or become the donor or sponsor, however you want to say it, for what was considered the most cutting edge group of mathematicians?
Okay, sorry. I know I'm already pausing way too much. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But something else you really need to know is that Epstein also was a major funder of the MIT research labs, which is where the very first crypto research lab was. Just worth knowing. Because the MIT research labs, Epstein, hang on, let me get just wait. Exactly, dude. Okay. Just give me a second to go through my file. So there's the Edge group, which is this weird group that he was a donor for. A lot of shit on researching singularity, which now that apparently AI is unionizing, I think we should maybe be paying a little bit of attention to. Yeah, Epstein also donated a significant amount of. Why do I drink a fizzy drink and then be like that? Why do I think that's going to be a good idea? It's just going to make me burp. And that's not ladylike. I don't want to do it on stream. So instead, I've just got to have like. Anyway, Epstein also donated significant amounts to MIT Media Lab and its director Joy Ito personally. Given his reputation, MIT was not supposed to accept donations from Epstein, so millions of dollars were donated anonymously in 2014 and 2015, or through clients and friends like Bill Gates and Leon Black. He was also a frequent guest at the lab. The Media Lab was actively trying to broker Epstein investment deals in startups in the programs, with Lightning Labs claiming to have rejected an offer. Okay, but this is where it is important to me and should be to you too. At the time, the digital currency initiative was being run out of the MIT Media Lab. Many Bitcoin developers joined the initiative in 2015. Keep in mind as well that we saw from that email, Peter Thiel is in discussion with him in 2014. Okay, so we know all these tech guys are deep in this in the 2010, 2015, 2020 somethings. Bitcoin developers joined the initiative when cryptocurrency was facing significant obstacles. Members of the DCI have gone on to work on large cryptocurrency projects, including Meta's Libra. It's important to note that Libra is the closest thing we've come to what I think Donald Trump wants to do. But I don't have the bandwidth to talk about Libra tonight. It's important to note that the DCI, while housed at MIT, was funded separately. I never finished that sentence when I wrote this. Details of the donations and fundings are provided in part. It was revealed this year that Epstein made a significant investment, $40 million in 2015, to Peter Thiel's Valor Ventures. So that's totally different. But that tells you the emails that were going around in 2014. But my point is, he invested in a lot of things that are kind of prominent today. And if his investments had any sort of shares or portfolios, where is that money? Satoshi is not Jeffrey Epstein. There's absolutely no way. I know who Satoshi is, though. Me.
In the world. Action.
So Santa Fe Institute in the late 80s, early 90s.
Sorry. I will let him speak. I just have one more thing to say. Oh my God. Shut up, you dumb bitch, and let the video play. But I can't. I have to tell. There's this very interesting thing that happens where men with a lot of money want to be seen as like geniuses. They want to be seen as geniuses, whether it's Elon Musk, who might be slightly more of a genius, Jeffrey Epstein. There are other examples, but basically they like just try and fund a lot of projects, or they put money into things to try and like, they want to show you how smart they are, right? So it's like Jeffrey Epstein is a con artist. Just for reference, there's an MIT paper from 1990, How to Make a Mint. Oh my God. Interesting. I want to look that up after. Yeah, they don't want to actually study. They don't actually want to study science. They want to kind of study science. Like the same thing you're seeing with the email to Noam Chomsky, where it's like, I read a few things and I feel I'm smart enough to get it. But they want you to believe that they're geniuses, right? And part of selling the idea that they're geniuses is getting deeply involved in things like science, the hard science, like things that require intelligence, but they're just the money, right? This is a con man. This is a man who is extremely charismatic and charming, who's been able to network his way into power. He's not a genius. He didn't get there because of any innate talent, unless you view the talent of networking, which, fair enough. But like, he's not a hard science genius. He's not a mathematical genius. He's not a scientific genius. And yet he needs to feel that he comes across that way to feel valuable. So the funding of these sorts of institutes are real, like, ego-driven. Yeah, you see a lot of these. It's the same. My favorite guy ever, my best friend, my lover, one might even say, Mark Andreessen. He is obsessed with proving to people that he's got this great philosophical, political mind. Yay, Gamby! Long time no see. Thank you for investing in Moral Coin. But he's obsessed with being like, oh, well, I read James Burnham and I have a belief that Plato had this sort of idea. He wants you to think that he's like this political mastermind. And Jeffrey Epstein and those associated with him, they want to show, oh, we didn't just luck our way into that. We earned it because we're geniuses. We think on levels you could never understand. None of these fuckers are geniuses.
I was interested, I was on the board of Rockefeller.
Oh.
So that starts, Rockefeller, it's university formed by John D. Rockefeller to sort of give back to the community. It's east side of
Bye,
Manhattan.
Gamby. Hope you're well.
Except it was old. It was sort of old-fashioned. They were talking about medicine, and medicine by itself was, again, subject to the ideas of.
This is the other thing that makes me super sassy about him. If you look at not Liquid Funding, but he has another company that is incorporated on Little St. James called Southern Trust, Southern something Trust, Southern Trump Trust, blah, blah, blah. Southern Trust Funding, something like that. A lot of what they say they do is invest in biotech. I'm very suspicious. Like, I almost, the line between Jeffrey Epstein and companies like 23andMe are too small for me.
Science. They were trying to use science to find cures for disease. And I said, no, we need to do something different. We need.
And sorry, I know. Kill me. We're going to be here all night. Just keep in mind when. Oh my gosh! Thank you so much, Moral Coin guys. You over on Twitch can't see it, but the sheriff just gifted a bunch of memberships over on YouTube. So once again, Moral Coin is going to the moon. I told you it's time to be bullish about this coin. You can see I'm correct. It's time to be bullish. Thank you so much, Sheriff. When these guys talk about curing disease and fixing things with medicine, they're talking about eugenics. Like, just to be very clear, what you think they're doing, what you think, oh, they're going to cure cancer. No. They're talking about eugenics. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. How many did you donate? I can't see. It doesn't tell me in my thing. Why have I lost all activity for YouTube? I can't see what you've done here. I just see. Sheriff is what we call an early adopter in the coin. Okay? It's kind of like being an early adopter in Bitcoin. You saw how that turned out, right? You remember that? You remember what happened if you were an early investor in Bitcoin? Worked out real well for those people. Now imagine that, except instead of money, it's morality. Wow. You wish. Thank you. It's crazy. It is sometimes funny how people who chat a lot get missed. I don't know how that works, but it happens to me all the time. Like, I'll be in IRI's chat a lot, and I'm just sitting there and people are like gifting, and I'm like, guys, how do I keep getting missed here? Yeah, it's the same as meritocracy. People who claim to care about that anti-woke are just pushing a genetic aristocracy. Yeah, it's really spooky to me because it's like when people are like, oh, they were murdering babies on Little St. James. I'm like, could be worse, guys. Could be a lot of stuff that you haven't even considered. when you add like biotech in and genealogy and like racial science, could be way worse. Yeah, literally the people who've been chatting today a lot have all been missed. I'm sorry. You can disable gifting also to ensure other people get them. What does that mean? Polygraph. Don't act like I know things, okay? I'm about as smart as ChatGPT.
To start interdisciplinary work. In most...
How did a schmuck like you get on the board of Rockefeller? What year was that?
I don't remember. Late, I think 89 and 91.
So that's one of the most prestigious research places in the world, correct?
Yes.
Okay, how did a guy like you get on the board of a blue blood, internationally known
Easy.
hard
I laundered
research,
money for them.
Nobel Prize winners all over the place. How do they pick a guy like you, a trader from, or basically some guy from Bear Stearns?
Good question. So I was asked to be on the board of Rockefeller, and I think it was, I was on the board of Rockefeller.
I laundered their money
There
for
was a
them. I
money
hid it.
manager
Yeah.
who said, Rockefeller needs someone with financial expertise because the university is growing and there's lots of new things. You have to, again, we go back to the original discussion the last time. Up until the mid-'80s or sort of early mid-'70s, the most important thing was your name. If you were Rockefeller, you already were considered to be brilliant. If you were head of General Motors, it was your reputation. It was who you knew, who your family was, what was your character. And then in the mid-'70s, basically, if you remember, you probably had a calculator. It was very advanced in those days to have a Texas Instrument calculator, where it could, by putting...
Oh yeah, advanced. In my school, everyone had to get one of those in year 11. So even I, a girl who once looked at the divide symbol and thought, what is that again? Even I have had a Texas Instrument calculator thing. I've had one, and I use it to spell boobs.
in the numbers, it would multiply for you to do square roots. And that was the first, and everyone who had a calculator was already advanced
Hell
on
yeah.
Wall Street. A simple almost like your accountant.
That's economics Joe for you. That's why she's so good. She's used a calculator.
The most important parts of business were really now going to calculations. So it's not only mathematics, but it's things that could be calculated. Reputation couldn't be calculated. I could give you, are you a 10 on a reputation scale, an 8? What does it mean to have a measurement of your reputation?
This is the thing about this guy, though, that no one gets. It's like, so for instance, a lot of people get confused because for those of you you're welcome. For those of you who don't know, Jeffrey Epstein was a mathematics teacher at a charter school, okay? And then he becomes a trader at Bear Stearns. And people are like, what? How does that happen? And then very quickly, he becomes like a partner at Bear Stearns. So people are very confused. Like, how does someone go from being a high school maths teacher to being a partner at Bear Stearns? That doesn't make any sense. Absolutely it does. You guys just, you don't get men the way a misandrist gets men. This guy's got charisma. Okay? He met the guy from Bear Stearns. The guy was like, you know what? I like you. Come and work for me. This is how things used to work back in the day. Okay? You know, I like you. Come and work for me. Come and be a trader. I think your instincts are good. I think you'll be good at it. Come and work for me. He gets there. He goes, hey, I've got some ideas about how we could do some illegal stuff but make it look totally illegal. Starts doing it. Starts making people money. People are like, be a partner. That's literally how it works when you're a dude and you have charisma and you're good at networking and you're willing to do illegal things. It's crazy. It's. You would think it was because of Mossad, maybe. I mean, he's not a Mossad agent. Anyone who tells you that is wrong. Has he worked for Mossad? Yes. He's been an asset, but he's not an agent. That is a lie. And he doesn't work for Mossad until after his time at Bear Stearns. And I know because I have read every single thing ever related to this man. He works for Mossad, MI6, and the CIA later, after. Okay. But the point is, yeah, it's a faux meritocracy. They'll tell you it's good, but it's really exactly like you said, Matthew. It's all about being a good hang. So in the same way that he's like, how on earth did you get on the Rockefeller board? I'm a chill dude and I'm willing to do illegal shit and not tell anyone. Hey, at this stage, if Mossad gifted me a bunch of subs, who's to say? I'm kidding. Unless there's a Mossad agent in the chat. In which case, I could be an asset. It's not even the finance grift. The reason the grift is, so after working at Bear Stearns, he starts working with Robert Maxwell and Douglas Lease and Adnan Khashoggi, and they're doing arms deals. So he's doing the money side of weapons trafficking. And then he's making money disappear from that weapons trafficking. So that's how he gets into intelligence work, because he's helping out with the weapons. But yeah, the point is, he was a good hang. That's how he got on the Rockefeller board. That's how he became a partner at Bear Stearns. That's how he met and knew all of these people. Would you say that people underestimate just how much word of mouth and the more traditional in-person route of getting jobs back then? Because, yeah, Alyssa, that's such a good point, because it's okay, not to make it anecdotal. My poor dad struggled so much with the change of the world because he was this kind of guy. Not a pedophile, but he got a lot of things by charm. He loved to talk to a person in person and get a deal. You know, he would get a ticket or get into a room, and he was very big on like in-person interactions, getting him where he needed to go. So when the world changed and it was like you didn't call the restaurant and talk to someone about trying to squeeze in a table, when it was like, sorry, we need you to go online and just do it there, like that shocked a lot of people who operated in this world. And I really don't think people understand what a change it was. So I think it's a great point to bring up, Alyssa.
We'll get to that later.
How dare you,
But
Johnny?
places like Rockefeller needed someone to say, look, we're entering a different world where numbers and the numbers of companies, portfolio management was going to be balanced. It was going to be statistical. Jeffrey, could you come on the board? Potentially sit on the finance committee, Nancy Kissinger and a bunch of other people. And David Rockefeller and I got along very well. He was this unbelievable human being.
Literally, that's the whole, everything else he said up until that point, bullshit. How did you get on the Rockefeller board? David Rockefeller and I got along unbelievably well. That's the whole thing.
Respectful to everyone. He introduced his driver as his colleague, not his driver. He would never say, this is my driver.
Hangology.
He said, it's my colleague. And David started to explain to me world politics. So David would say, Jeffrey, money is going to be sort of the most important thing.
Yes,
People don't
Elliot.
understand money. You seem to have this knack for money. I said to David, tell me about your life. What was the worst and the best part of your life?
What do you think knack for money means? I have a knack for money. Spending it. Am I right, folks? No, I don't actually spend it. It just goes away somehow. I have a knack for it going away. But not the way that I make money disappear. So does Jeffrey. We do it in very different ways. He makes it exist but no longer exist to the eye. I make it no longer exist, but my eyes swore it was just there.
Life. So David said, when I grew up, everyone knew I was a Rockefeller. They didn't know that my father told me he would not leave me a dime. No money. But every time we went out to eat, me and my 5 friends at school.
Don't you love how rich people always say that? My parents said they were going to leave me destitute. My money, it's all self-made. My extremely wealthy parents, no, they were going to put me out on the street. You don't, I'm a Rockefeller, yes, but I wasn't left a single dollar. I made all that money myself.
They would leave me the bill. They would expect me to pick up the check because I was a Rockefeller. And he said, I was chairman of Chase Bank. And he said, I remember like it was yesterday, one of the headlines in Time magazine said, David, please fire yourself. So he thought that there was a world that existed that would be a combination of both politics and business and leadership.
So
What do I mean?
insecure.
He formed something called the Trilateral Commission. The Trilateral Commission is some spooky stuff. People said it was something, the Illuminati, there's some.
Yeah, I was just thinking when he was like, they said, Rockefeller came to me and he said, I think politics and money are going to get really entrenched. And Jeffrey Epstein's like, now I'm going to explain to you evil. Now I'm going to explain to you all the evil shit we started doing. If you were wondering, I'm going to tell you it's not evil, but I am just going to straight up describe evil things.
Mystery about it, people that ran the world. It was politicians, but David said most countries, the politicians get elected for 4 years or 8 years, separate from the royal families in England or in the Middle East. Someone's there for 4 years and then they're not there anymore. The most important people to have stability and consistency would be businessmen. So he formed this Trilateral Commission of businessmen and politicians from 3 major continents. So it was the North Americans, the Europeans, and the Asians. So he said to me, would you like to be on the Trilateral Commission?
So close to sounding Asian. I mean, not Asian, racist, the way that he said that. It was the North Americans, the Europeans, and the Asians. Not the Middle Easterners? You just mentioned them. They are where the money is.
Commission. Now, I was 30 years old, 32 years old. This is great.
He's trying to make me feel bad. He's like, oh, me at 32? I was on the board of the Rockefeller Foundation, Institute, whatever this fucking shit is. I was a partner at fucking Bear Stearns. I was talking to all the, the politicians and the businessmen. And I was basically running the world at 30.
And he said, well, you have to fill out this application so they have your bio. And I looked at the list of people, and it was Bill Clinton, former president of the United States, Paul Volcker, every great leader in America, the Asians, the Japanese, and with a very long description of their history.
You know what I think in this moment will make me really relatable? I'm going to explain a time that I became involved with the most evil organization you can think of. Basically, we thought, let's manipulate politics using money, get everyone together and come up with a plan with what we want. And I'm good with money. I'm good at hiding it. So I'll do it. Hey, Faith, how you going? Good morning.
And they asked me to fill in what I would like to have written. And I wrote Jeffrey Epstein, comma, just a good kid, which I thought was funny. Nobody else did.
No comment.
So answer to your question, at that time I recognized around the world that...
Keep in mind, this is his PR interview to recover his image after going to jail for sexually assaulting a child. Just a good kid. Sex trafficker? Just a good Alyssa, he didn't even age because he had already freaking been to prison. This is who got oh my god. What does one even say?
Monies and currencies were not really well understood.
Oh yeah,
but
guys, sorry, that was the other thing I had to tell you. You know how I told you that his whole thing is money laundering and shadow banking. The other thing that he massively worked in, and the reason I didn't mention it is because I don't fully understand it. Economics Joe never really got to the bottom of this. But when Economics Joe comes back, who knows? Maybe she'll get to the bottom of this, okay? He worked in currencies. So when he was very close with the Clintons, very close to the Clintons, when he was going to visit the Clintons in the White House, which he did in the teens of times, I can't remember if it's 13 or 15 times, but also he was on the record as going there to discuss currencies trading. So I think it's to do with the fact of like storing your money in different currencies. I don't know, but currencies is, and that's why I think he's in crypto. It makes total sense for him to be in crypto, right? But yeah, currencies is something that he was another one of his specialties. So in the financial world, shadow banking, which is what caused the GFC, by the way, shadow banking, money laundering, and currencies, trading currencies.
It was only numbers. So numbers, and I'll get to the fact that it was bad thinking. Numbers are very good.
Are most people that you meet, even on Trilateral Commission, when you meet most people, do you find most leaders financially illiterate, economically illiterate?
Political leaders are like me. They're using their Texas Instruments to write boobs.
Most political leaders don't come out of a background of finance. Most political leaders come out of a background of being popular. So in some of the countries, in some of the African countries, for example, they might have been a military person. They were a general. In some of the African countries, they might have been a disc jockey. Or in our country, they would have been an actor.
Hang on, Adrian says. Adrian, I feel you're a money man. I feel you're an econ man. That's what I sense about you. So let's read this comment. Currencies people are also tied to geopolitics from what I hear. Never worked in that space, but geopolitics drive this. Yeah. We got to see what's going on there. So easy to collude and make trades alongside knowing the moves. Oh, so it's, okay. Interesting. So it's insider trading, just geopolitics edition. I'm overwhelmed by the recent file dump. It's very like The Shining. This is the thing though, Faith. I was saying this before. Part of the reason I think Biden didn't pursue this is because it's very impossible to separate out a single charge without kind of destroying everything. But the other thing is, it's not unusual that all the billionaires would know one another, right? They're all working in the same spaces, getting the same awards, funding the same shit. Obviously, everyone's going to know one another. And Jeffrey Epstein is good at money laundering. So if I'm a billionaire, I want to know the guy who knows how to hide all my money. Obviously, I think there's a separation between those who committed sexual crimes, those who committed financial crimes, and those who are involved in financial deals, which I believe would be in the public interest to know about, but we don't know about them. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, I think large concentrations of wealth into small groups of men are problematic and have also existed across all time. So I don't. Never equates to good things.
The knowledge of money they don't have expertise, they have no degrees in finance. They really, and this is one of the major problems, their expertise, if they have any financial knowledge, is of their own checking account.
You don't have a degree in finance, bro. You don't have a degree in anything. You went to NYU for a minute. It's so funny. Oh, these politicians, they don't understand money because they're there because they're popular. Why are you here? You're here because you're a good hang. You're not here because you have expertise. The expertise you have is in breaking the law.
Or bank account and filling in their own taxes. So many world leaders who don't really have a financial underpinning make fundamental errors when it comes to money on a country or institutional level. Let me give you an example.
Please.
If you, Mr. Bannon, if I said
Steve Bannon's like, don't say my name. No one's meant to know I'm here.
Your assets increased last year, you'd say, that sounds pretty good.
No.
And I'd say, what does that mean to you? He'd say, well, I have more money, I guess. I'm wealthier. I'd say, yes. And if your debt increased, would you feel wealthier or poorer?
Depends.
You'd
If
say,
it's
well,
good
I don't
debt.
want to have increased debt. I don't like
No,
the
no, no,
idea
no,
of
no, no, no,
that
no,
sound,
no.
increased.
I know this. Guys, there is good debt. There's bad debt and there's good debt. For instance, a mortgage is good debt. Because I'm giving you a big finance lesson here. If you buy a house, that's an important investment which will likely gain value. So even though you've taken on debt, you have even, let us use a financial word. Let us say you have accrued some debt. I think that's the wrong word. I think accrued happens. I think you accrue interest. Anyway, there is good debt. For instance, on a country's level, maybe you invest in something like, well, look at Australia, right? The foresight of I have just forgot what you call someone who's in charge of a state, because in Canberra it's the chief minister, but in other places it's the guy who is in charge of Melbourne, okay? The guy who's in charge of Victoria. He makes the decision to put in millions of dollars to build the tennis courts and the stadiums for the Australian Open. Lots of money. Big spender. People not too happy. But now, Australian Open, Grand Slam, big deal. Big tourism opportunity. Lots of people come, lots of money made. Stadium used for many, many things. It's not the governor, it's the governor in America. In Australia, you are the chief minister in Canberra and you are the leader. Premier! Thank you, Teresk. Ding, 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 ding. Thank you. You're the premier, actually. He's robbed so much stuff. But anyway, the point is, I'm actually smarter than everyone who's ever spoken to Jeffrey Epstein.
Debt.
But we didn't need this interview to know that. Hey, Jeffrey, I want to come to the island for a sick wild party. Girls for the win. When would be a good time to come? I can totally free my schedule whenever because I'm down to party.
Now, that and world leaders understand when their assets go up, they feel better. However, institutions like banks, things.
Sorry, can I just say, because who said this before? I know, I hate myself too. You should just go watch the interview. Matthew, you were like talking about how the left is economically illiterate, and that's what this is trying to demonstrate. Literally saying there is good debt and just being like, oh my God, we're in a better position when we have a whole lot of assets is I don't know 100% what it's like in America, but in Australia, the Liberal Party, whenever they're in charge, the coalition, all they want to say is like, guys, we've got a surplus. We've got a surplus. Therefore, things are good. We know we're good because we've got a surplus. Whereas like the Labour Party and left-wing parties be like, yeah, we're not in a surplus, but we had to spend on some social initiatives that were really important in order to make sure that our country was in the best position. So we're finding a way to balance between, getting towards a surplus, getting to what we want to be back in black, but we also want to make sure that when needed, we're willing to spend the money so that the country's in a really good position. To me, that is like left-wing economic management in Australia, and right-wing economic management is like, assets make me feel good. I like it when we're in a surplus. That's all that matters. Fuck the people, up the surplus.
That people don't really understand are financial underpinnings of banks. When I say your bank, Mr. Bannon, you have the Bannon Bank, you doubled your assets. Sounds good, but what does it really mean? It means people owe you more money. You don't have any more money. What? Yeah. A bank's assets are how much it is owed by other people. That's crazy. So if the bank goes from a $2 billion of assets to $10 billion, it means people owe it an additional $8 billion, but their assets have gone up. So the terminology of assets and liabilities is different for banks. It's not
I don't
natural.
like it.
And what most people, and you ask questions about world leaders, there's many people, I think your old boss Mercer understood, there's a fundamental part of money which is called fractionalized banking. And fractionalized banking is something that finance people understand, and the people on the
Listen,
street,
Mossy.
and when I say people on the street, that's where I was when
I do have a very generous early investor in Moral Coin, the world's first crypto morality, where you can buy your morality for the month. Yes, I do have an early investor, someone particularly bullish, but do keep in mind that it means a lot to me when you also sub and invest in crypto morality yourself, because for those of you who don't know, there are certain points where individual people who sub or invest in my crypto morality, the more people who do that of their own accord changes the split that I get in terms of revenue. So it actually means a lot when you chuck me a subby and buy me a coffee. Yeah, appreciate that too. Who's leaving? Jedi's going? Bye, Jedi. Be well. UK Labour promising austerity investment. White guys talking about fractionalized banking and the gold standard. That's what white guys
started
do.
on Wall Street,
Get two
would
white
find
guys in
it
a room.
impossible to believe.
They can't help talking about
Impossible.
gold.
Why? Bannon Bank, I give you $1, just one single dollar. In
The Joe Bank, you get one sub.
our system of banking, I would say, okay, Steve, I gave you $1. How much can you lend out to your friends? And your natural reaction would be probably something less than $1, because I want to keep
No.
something
I can go into
in
debt
my pocket.
and they can owe me.
The way our system works is if you as a bank are holding my
I'm
dollar,
not stupid.
you can lend out an additional $8 or $9.
Yeah.
No, it's impossible. I only have $1, Jeffrey.
No, because I can use that dollar
We
to
have
get
something
more.
called fractionalized reserves, which is if you have 1, you can lend out 9. That's the way our system works.
Bro, this is why people don't like you, because we know this is why everything fails.
And so not only do world leaders not understand banking, but the man on the street, my father who worked in the park,
Why is he? I just showed you I do understand it. This is more proof that too many male leaders, not enough women in the room, because I didn't even need him to explain it. I got it. And I used my calculator to write boobs.
department, it would be beyond his imagination that people could lend out more money than they actually had in their pocket. Next question.
But how did this, in understanding that, when you get on something like the Trilateral Commission, you're on the board at Rockefeller, which is the most advanced research. You get brought into the Trilateral, which is the elite of the elite. How, since you're only at that time
30-something years old.
8
Fucking
years
brag.
from teaching at Dalton, right? You're at Dalton
No,
at
10
twen-
years.
10 years
right.
teaching at Dalton.
Yes.
Walk us through, I mean, put us in the room. Walk me through exactly what it felt like. What it felt like being on the board at Rockefeller. You got these Nobel laureates, and you're sitting there making decisions, and you start to meet these people at Rockefeller. Now you start to meet these people at the Trilateral Commission. What did it feel like?
It's a great question. So what did it feel
That's
like?
what I'm in the business of asking.
What did it feel like meeting some of these people like Kissinger or Rockefeller?
Brag,
And
brag,
those
brag,
are two
brag,
extraordinary
brag.
people. But in general, I think the question, the people on Wall Street.
What did
I
it
tell-
feel like making a bunch of little girls cry when you made them so fucking uncomfortable they couldn't even speak? That's a good question. I wonder why Bannon didn't ask that one. What was it like stealing millions of dollars from the US government, the British government, hiding it offshore and using it to finance your trafficking ring? How does it feel knowing that all these people you mention are bad, bad, bad men? Interesting.
The story, the first day, one of the first days when I was in Wall Street, someone said to me, "Would you like to buy ATV?" And I was looking in the brochure, and I couldn't figure out what stock had a symbol of ATV. And when I finally said, "Well, I can't find it," and they said, "What's the matter with you? Do you want to buy
the matter with you?"
ATV?" Which is, he was selling hot televisions, stolen televisions from the floor of the American Stock Exchange.
Oh, then he definitely wants
referred
to
to
buy it.
in common parlance as the televisions fell off the truck. So I knew what that phrase meant from Coney Island. But what I found
I'm just a good guy from Coney Island.
was most people, be it in business, in normal life, or in the world leaders, don't really understand money. It is something they think about. They have a sense of what it is. They certainly want more of it. But they also make statements like, "We want more money, but we don't want more debt," which just shows a misunderstanding of what money at its core really is. So most people don't, they want to make it, they want to save it, but to understand it intimately is not a normal
Guys,
characteristic.
If I'm his coach, I'm going to be like, "Hey, Jeffrey, when you say words like intimately, try not to do this with your hands. Just given what we're trying to rehab you from, saying words like intimately and doing this with your hands at the same time, that's not really going to work for us in this moment."
At the first trilateral,
Well, what happened?
or something?
Yeah, good. You're good.
Just give me approximate. You joined the trilateral
I
commission.
think it might be
And we'll be able to show we'll pull down the chart of where your name was, but just give me roughly when it was.
I think it could be 90. I don't remember.
I'm just going
Let's say
to two
early
times
90s.
it in case he's
When you got on the
redoing
trilateral commission and had the first, do you remember where the first meeting was?
I was in Tokyo.
In Tokyo. In what hotel?
I would like to say the Hilton, but it's probably not.
And it's a 3-day, 4-day? Give me some
3-day event, and
walk me through the whole thing.
speeches.
It starts with a dinner. Just walk me through it.
It was boring.
You couldn't possibly think it was boring.
It was
Bullshit.
boring.
You had
No,
to be stars
sorry.
in your eyes.
No.
Did you fly over privately?
Yes, but it wasn't my plane.
So it didn't count?
No.
You fly over.
Yes.
And
And it was-
who were the first, like when you first met those leaders, you had to be wild.
No.
This is what I mean, Tom, when I talk about Epstein's connections to intelligence. It's like, yeah, it's there. It's just he didn't work for Mossad. He worked with Mossad when it was advantageous to him, and it also happened to be advantageous to Mossad. Cool, he'll work with Mossad. Same with MI6, same with the CIA, same with whoever needs him. So did he work with organized crime? Absolutely. Absolutely he worked with organized crime. Of course he did. The first people that he worked with, Douglas Leese and Adnan Khashoggi, were weapons traffickers. That's what they did. They moved weapons illegally. Jeffrey Epstein moved the Iran-Contra money. Like, this man, definitely worked with crime. Okay? So, the difference is, right, he worked with the mafia. That doesn't mean he was a part of the mafia, right? That's the thinking you need to get around with men like this. Because a lot of the time people will be like, "Oh, he did this, therefore he's a part of them." And the difference between an asset and an agent is whether or not you take orders from that person. It's like, no, I'm not doing it unless it works for me to do it, unless I decide that I want to do it. And so, yes, he worked with Mossad. It's undeniable. It's literally undeniable. In that email where he's like, "Can you make sure people know I'm not Mossad?" He's not Mossad. That was an email that this is a political stream psycho. There's an email between him and Ehud Barak that's like, "Can you just make sure it's known that I'm not Mossad?" And it's like, he isn't Mossad. There's no lie there. Doesn't mean he doesn't work with Mossad. Doesn't mean he doesn't work with the CIA. He definitely works with MI6 because he was part of the Al Yamama arms deal between Britain and Saudi Arabia. So, I don't know, guys. It's one of those creepy little word technicalities that ends up being super important. Do you have to be liberal or conservative? No, you don't have to be anything. Those govs do work with organized crime a ton too. Well, literally, Les Wexner is organized crime. Les Wexner comes from organized crime. The guy who owns Victoria's Secret that he ends up being the personal money manager for, he is organized crime. Hang on. Wait, why are we in Google and not in Opera? Organized Fondays. Oh yeah, he murdered like everyone. But I mean, yeah, many such cases. Okay. Illegal tax schemes to do with the mafia. I know, I can't remember what kind of... It's the Ohio mob. He's a mob member. Literally, he's tied to the mob. So the money manager for Les Wexner works for the mob. I don't remember everything, guys. I can't keep it all in my head at once. Okay? I can't. But I'm telling you, Les Wexner... Adrian, I'm trying my best, okay? I want to be a Linux girly. The truth of the matter is I like the sounds Opera makes when I do things like this. I love that. Oh. Yeah. Thank you, Snowman. Here. Someone, guys. Someone tell me the story. Why are they hiding the real story? Les Wexner is part of the mob in Ohio. Okay, you know what? They murdered a lawyer. If the mob want to sponsor me, I can be an asset. Okay? I'm happy to take Pepsi. I'm happy to take the mob. And we can hide it. Les Wexner owns Abercrombie and Fitch. I like their jeans. Okay? We can make it look normal. There are ways to make this work. Okay. Whatever. Fine. You know what? The point is, yes, he worked with organized crime. Yes, he works with everyone. Except me. He does not work with me. Guys, the safest thing I could do, you want to talk about online safety, the safest thing I could do is become an expert at the computer. And once I'm an expert at the computer, everything becomes easier. Once I'm an expert at the computer, I open source all things. Me and GitHub, every day we're like this. I make my own browser. That's the safest thing. Okay? But there are steps. It took me a long time to become an economist. It's going to take me a long time to become a software engineer. Is it impossible? Absolutely not. Nothing is impossible. Is it something that's going to happen soon? Absolutely not.
10 years at Coney Island.
No, I'm not wowed by people of position. I'm wowed by people of great ideas. And I don't care if it's the bus driver. I don't care if it's the student I had who has teeth strict coming out.
Well, these guys have to have great ideas. They're the leaders of the three great continents of the world, North America, Europe, and Japan.
No, many of these world leaders become world leaders because they're popular and they were able to get votes or they were able to convince people to vote for them. I learned later. Many of them were just good at what they did in terms of politics. Remember, world leaders are politicians in general. They're not scientists, they're not intellectuals, they're not great thinkers, they're great politicians.
At the first trilateral commission.
Isn't he just so relatable? The thing is, you do have to be a great thinker to be a politician. That doesn't mean you have to be an ideas man. Maybe you're great at negotiating. Maybe you're great at collaborating. Maybe you're great at identifying good times for policy. Like, yeah, there are policy specialists who come up with the ideas. As a politician, your job is to listen to your constituents, represent them. Like, God, this guy fucking sucks. Unlike me. I'm just a man who loves ideas. I don't care where they come from. They never come from politicians, by the way.
meeting that you remember in Tokyo in sometime in the early 90s. Do you remember what were the big issues of the day that they were talking about, and what did you think about it?
Yeah, in fact, it was funny because they were talking about inflation, and they were worried that what would happen, how do you control inflation? And I, as a mathematician, I didn't understand it.
Sorry, keep in mind, this evil man is at a meeting of all the world leaders and top businessmen from Europe, North America, and Asia, and they're all sitting together talking about inflation, and he's telling this as a fun anecdote from his coming up story. Like, consider how freaked out people get by Davos, which I'm going to, by the way, at some point. And then think about how he's explaining this as if it's just like a fun moment from his history.
The concept, I don't understand the concept today. How's that possible? Well, when you talk about most things to do with money, money is meant to be local. It's US dollars. Then I understand what it means. If inflation means my dollar today inflates, and it doesn't buy as much as it did a couple of years ago. The prices go up. It seems that everything's great, but in fact my dollar is shrinking in value.
If you, and you're the financial genius here. I'm just a lowly M&A guy.
You're the financial maybe you're a pedophile, but you're a financial genius. Let's not talk about what your financial genius is in. Let's just talk about it generally and vaguely, because that's what's going to help us here.
If you let me finish the thought. Go ahead. So if you're in America, you can feel inflation. Your salary's gone up, but you can't buy the same car. In fact, it starts to feel weird because
That's why I want to ask the question. That's my point. Sure.
That's because things get more expensive, but you don't make more money. So you actually need to make wages inflate at the same rate as... See, I know this shit. I know how the economy works. Yes, your wages, the value of your dollar, the amount that you take home needs to increase at the same rate that things get more expensive. You think that do you really think that fucking treasurers of different countries don't understand this? This is stupid. You don't understand. Until I came along, all the world leaders and the top businessmen in the world, they didn't even get inflation. That's how big of a financial genius I am. I took one of the fundamental concepts of economics and I explained it to everyone leading the world. So without me, who knows what the treasurers would be doing?
The people who live and breathe this, the central banks, have been haunted by the specter of inflation since the late 70s.
Yes.
First off, tell our audience, how did that happen? The two great financial events in the 20th century, I'm not going to get to the 21st, were the great inflation in Europe after World War I, the Great Depression, the hyperinflation in Germany that led to the rise of Hitler, and then this inflation in the mid-70s. Before you go explain inflation, why is the specter of inflation always...
Let's not mention the GFC, knowing that you had a hand in it, bro. I know you did. I can't prove it yet, but I will prove it. I know what you're up to, Jeffrey.
the central thing in central bankers' minds?
Because it goes back to the first concept I said, the weird concept of fractionalized reserves. The system is not well understood. And most systems, in fact, are not well understood. We don't know how our digestive system...
Stop. This is impossible. This is impossible. The most...
You know what I'd prefer? I would like Miss Rachel to explain the economy to me. I don't want to hear this man explain it. I want Miss Rachel to do it. Like, I have to skip ahead because it's like, I don't really... Was this the idea for like rehabbing his image? You went away for a sex crime, but let's just get you to explain the basics of economics. I'm so glad. Okay, let's just take a moment to read that, actually, because I would like to read that. People. When I think of Cardi B now, it's very sad. When I was last in New York, a bunch of kids died because they were doing this thing called subway surfing, where instead of riding the subway, you ride on top of the subway. But there's like a Cardi B ad where she's like, it's not cool to ride on top of the subway. Make sure you get home safe. Yeah, it's really scary. Kids do this. Liam Corneo Ramos. Where is this? Getting a lot of copy, not getting a lot of... Okay, guys, here we go. Perfect. Can I open this and not have it in this? There we go. Okay. So, little baby Liam Ramos versus dog murderer Chrissy Nome, idiot Pamela Bondi, and the rest of the motley crew. Before the court is the petition of asylum seeker Adrian Cornejo Arias and his 5-year-old son for protection of the great writ of habeas corpus. Legal terms, don't know. They seek nothing more than some modicum of due process and the rule of law. The government has responded. The case has its genesis in the ill-conceived and incompetently implemented government pursuit of daily deportation quotas, apparently even if it requires traumatizing children. Damn. This judge is going hard. Is this a man or a woman? That spelling of Jamie makes me... Oh, that's a clerk. Who's the judge? Oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter. The judge. I want to know who it is. Oh, well. It's reading like a woman. I'm on Twitter under thesillyserious. This court and others regularly send undocumented people to prison and orders... This court and others regularly send undocumented people to prison and orders them deported, but do so by proper legal procedures. Apparent also is the government's ignorance of an American historical document called the Declaration of Independence. 33-year-old Thomas Jefferson enumerated grievances against a would-be authoritarian king over our nascent nation. Among others were, he has sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people. He has excited domestic insurrection among us, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. We the people are hearing echoes of that history. And then there is that pesky inconvenience called the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and persons or things to be seized. U.S. Constitution, Amendment 4. Civics lesson to the government. Oof. Administrative warrants issued by the executive branch to itself do not pass probable cause muster. That is called the fox guarding the henhouse. The Constitution requires an independent judicial officer. Accordingly, the court finds that the Constitution of these United States trumps this administration's detention of petitioner Adrian Cornejo Arias and his minor son, LCR. The Great Writ and release from detention are granted pursuant to the attached judgment. Observing human behavior confirms that for some among us, the perfidious lust for unbridled power and the imposition of cruelty in its quest know no bounds and are bereft of human decency, and the rule of law be damned. Ultimately, petitioners may, because of the arcane United States immigration system, return to their home country involuntarily or by self-deportation. But that result should occur through a more orderly and humane policy than currently in place. Philadelphia, September 17, 1787. Well, Dr. Franklin, what do we have? A republic, if you can keep it. With the judicial finger in the constitutional dike, it is so ordered, signed this 31st day of February, 2026. Fred! It's a man! It's a boy! Gender reveal! It's a boy! Wow. Sweet baby. That's a Stitch hat. It feels like a Lilo and Stitch hat, which is kind of... There's a Lilo and Stitch is an immigration tale. This was great, Fred. What a rally. We loved it. But of course Fred has his finger in a dike. Unbelievable. 2 up for the boy, 2 down for misandry. He did have to end with this statement, which almost loses him a few points, but we'll allow it because he's a boomer. And I bet he meant it in the real way. But anyway, that was beautiful. Thank you for recommending that. Wait, Hornet. The best way for progressives to play the Epstein files is apolitically. Spread the Musk email far and wide without commentary. I think the best way to play it is just like, I know everyone's like, we got to keep going on the files. No, the administration has worked out how to use the files. The administration is using the files to put out salacious stuff that is unactionable so that people feel that the administration is doing their best, while at the same time releasing files that hang out the people they're mad out to dry. So whether that's Elon Musk, Howard Lutnick, Casey Wasserman, Jason Calacan, whatever his name is, they've worked out how to do it, use the files to their advantage, and they use them at points of distraction when they want people's eyes on something else. So now that they've worked out how to use it to their advantage, I think we back off the files because we don't need the files. Nothing is coming out in the files, and we know for a fact they are not going to release anything in the files that is actionable. They are not going to do it. They're not. That's why they're leaking this fucking FBI tip list so that we think that they're idiots. Oh, whoops, they leaked it and then they deleted it. Read it quick. And it's like, no, it's just to make us think they're idiots. They know exactly what they're doing. So the files are now a non-starter, unfortunately. Time to focus on the ICE shit because, to be fair, this is the thing. Oh, look, he credited a bystander, Matthew, and he credited the Bible. But this is the thing. You don't need any of this to demonstrate that the president is a sex offender. We know that. If you want to focus on files, do back Senator Ron Wyden and get the suspicious transaction records from JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, and Bank of America. Okay? You have to do that. Those are the files that actually threaten Donald Trump. Those are the files he doesn't want us to see. Suspicious activity records from the banks. Those are the files, not the Epstein files, the suspicious activity records. They're the ones to push for. But in my opinion, the immigration stuff is hurting the administration's popularity so bad. Everyone's like, including me, I was like, oh, maybe he'll bomb Iran because he's releasing all these files. No, it's because he wants a distraction from the immigration. That's what's hurting him right now. So stay on the immigration. Stay in Minnesota. Keep your eye on that. That's what's hurting the administration because everything demonstrates that people like the idea of immigration in the abstract. They like immigration enforcement when they're thinking about it. They're like, yeah, oh my God, yes, we should be removing people. But when people actually action it, when it's your neighbor, they don't like it. They don't like it at all. So this is what you should... You know what's nuts to me? I full on, because I went through all the files, Faith. I clicked on a file. It was a naked girl. Like, I don't know if she's of age, but there's nothing that allows me to verify that. So I was kind of like, oh, wait, we have to redact all the names, but we don't have to, because of the victims, but you don't redact the naked body of this girl? Sheriff, you don't have to gift anymore. Also, I don't have a counter for my YouTube, so I feel bad because like, it's crazy though when they're saying, "Oh my god, the reason we've spent so much time is because we've had to redact it to protect all the victims." And then I click as a naked woman or girl, I don't know. Yeah, it's all a freaking lie, but it's like, why are you putting this like, are you 18? And then just, holy crap. The thing is, MAGA don't care about sex crimes. They don't. Hang on. I'm always reading and quoting myself. Can I tell you, listen, I got to tell you something. It's not the best about me, but a lot of the time I want to find things to react to, and what I'm looking for is something that no one's made yet because I have to make it. So I understand that sounds very like toot my own horn, but yeah, I say it in the Epstein piece. I say it at the beginning. It made sense for MAGA to build a political campaign around Epstein. It is the perfect negative campaign that highlights the other, a perfect channel for working class anger that somehow absolves the actual guilty parties, diverting it to a conspiratorial anger toward a mythologized sex cabal, which also just happens to include some high profile Democrats. Yes, a cabal is preferable to systemic inequality and corporate corruption. A list of names of specific people to blame, all neatly included in a little black book. A shadowy group of powerful figures doing terrible things rather than a problem with the country itself. All of this encapsulated by one man, contained, limited, controlled. But let's get to the point that I wanted to. Yeah, Trump's psychic immunity. Sorry, this is the point I wanted to read for you. Donald Trump once said that he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose a vote. The same is true of any of his sexual improprieties that may be in the Epstein documents. We know this because Trump has already got away with significant sexual misconduct. His supporters know about Trump's instructions to grab them by the pussy. They knew this before the 2016 election. MAGA were happy to agree that the sexual transgressions of Bill Clinton, husband of his opponent, were far worse. His supporters are aware of Trump's inappropriate. Great. This is how you know I'm a professional. I keep shit like this in here because it's really important that you know I'm not AI. Okay? Trump's inappropriate behavior around the young girls at the Miss Teen USA pageant. MAGA know that Trump was found liable for the sexual abuse of E. Jean Carroll and that his divorce settlement contained the details of a vicious sexual attack against his ex-wife. Holy shit, thank you so much, Sheriff. Thank you. Oh my God. I'm just going to keep reading this though, and I'll thank you after. Time and time again, MAGA has been made aware of the inappropriate comments Trump has often made about his daughter. His supporters know that he's been accused of inappropriate sexual behavior by over 24 women. And no matter how MAGA minimize, they know that Trump was a close friend and party associate of Jeffrey Epstein. If Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, he has already confessed and been forgiven in the minds of MAGA. To an extent, they expect it. Sexual misconduct has never been a real problem for MAGA or many Republicans more broadly. While uniquely horrific, sex crimes are also incredibly commonplace. Constantly being forgiven in the home, in the community, and the press. Often committed by people much closer to you than the president, and rarely justly resolved. MAGA are more than happy to sweep sexual crimes, particularly those of Donald Trump. Thank you so much, Sheriff. I really appreciate it. I'm really making an effort to be a good streamer, particularly this month. Last month I did more than the month before. This month I'm going to be super committed. I'm going to try and do 3 times a week at least. I'm going to make a really serious effort to turn up and do good commentary on a regular schedule. I'm going to try, okay? So anyone, I really support the sheriff's support, but I really support everyone's support because I'm really trying to make this work and provide good commentary, okay? And fun commentary. So hopefully I am both serious and silly enough for you in that it's fun to be here, but you still get insightful insight. Okay. I'm not going to pull it. I'm trying not to stress obviously I have other jobs that make me no money as well. Outside of this, so I'm a playwright and I do writing, but like, I'm trying to give this I would like to be a partner on Twitch. That would make me feel special and good. You know? I would like to. We'll see how we go. I would like to crack 5K views on YouTube, but you know, it's once you've had a video that's had millions of views, every other video is a knife. None of this should be read as a denial of sex crimes by those associated with Epstein. I'm not interested in relitigating those claims, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, my point is, like, there's nothing that in those files that could come out about a sex crime involving Donald Trump that is going to move the needle at all. But the ICE stuff is moving the needle. Okay? The ICE stuff is upsetting people. So his negatives right now disprove this, though, don't they? Like, yes, they're a group of cognitive decline he will lose, but I don't know, man. Maybe the right-wing civil war stuff is fake. The thing is, I think his negatives are huge, Matthew. I think the ICE stuff in particular has really rocked people. I think the foreign policy stuff is upsetting people. They don't like the Greenland stuff. They don't like the Venezuela stuff. I think they don't like the fact the economy is doing so bad. They don't like the Second Amendment stuff. Exactly. What they're seeing, they're not liking. They don't like. The ICE stuff is really, really damaging them. They don't like it. And so from what I see, yes, his negatives are massive. My point is, none of that, like, you could, hypothetically, someone in power that these people support could come out that they did things to their own children, and I think they'd be forgiven. Okay, so if he's gonna, I don't think he cares. Also, guys, read my Waco piece if you haven't. I was going to make this into a video, but I don't think it's worthy of a video. I wanted to make it into a video because I am a big Waco truther. But I know, it's my most right-wing opinion. But I would appreciate you reading it. I can't like this myself because it shows up that I liked my own thing. I stream, well, this is what I'm trying to work out, because I feel like if I stream during the day, people aren't around as much. So then I stream at night. But I don't know. Yeah, exactly, Matthew. You get it. And as I have said many times, the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, it's like, yeah, I know he's a sex criminal, but this is distracting us from the actual problem, which is the financial crimes. The reason so Ron Wyden saw the SARS, the suspicious activity reports, as a member of the oversight committee. He saw them in camera, so he wants them out, right? But I think the problem the Biden administration was having is, how do we release these without like tanking the financial system? At night, I get the overseas audience and the DJ. Well, the reason I love this time is because this would be, I ideally would love to be a daytime streamer when I'm in America. I would love that. So this time I really like, if we can make it work. No, please. I love anything you guys think would make this stream better. You can tell me. I'm not like, I love backseating. Please backseat. Don't backseat to the point that you're doing stuff on my behalf. I don't like that. Okay? But if you have a suggestion, tell me. I would love it. Love to see more videos that could be shared and clipped. Okay, I'll become more succinct. I'll work it out. I can do it. I can do it. Oh, okay. Frick. There you go. Dark. Oh, guys, can we just go over some quick stuff quickly? I want to get off the Epstein stuff now, because what more is there to say? What more is to say? Bad guy, proven to be really, really bad. But the fact that he's proven to be really, really bad is actually a way for the government to be like, look, see, you asked for dirt and we gave it to you. Look how salacious this is, when there's actually nothing in there that can be used, right? I mean, you can make parasocial fan channels. It's more like something that used to happen last time I streamed is like a lot of people going to other streamers, and like I can go to other streamers. If you go, then it's that should just be more like colleague to colleague sort of stuff. The thing is with TikTok, I think there's a way around it, right? Because the instinct people have is like, oh my God, bad people have taken over the app. We have to leave. All politics needs to leave because you can't say anything anymore. Do you think the people who are on, like, my TikTok feed is stuff like, everything you need to know to glow up in 2026. And then it's like, things I wish I bought this week that I didn't. It's like, oh my God, he's going to text me. He's not going to text me. He's going to text me. So that's what my feed is, right? It's not political. So people who are on there for non-political reasons, they're not going to leave because nothing's super changing for them. The key is instead of leaving every time a bad person takes over a platform, because this is true of traditional media too, right? You just need to find a way to talk in code. So for instance, so I have the craziest friend group. It's like a reality television friend group. The shit they get into is insane. And every year they go on this super expensive ski trip. It's not so much about the skiing. It's more about like everyone hanging out. It's more about the après ski, you know? So my one friend, Don, everyone's a bit over him at the moment because he's a narcissist. He's like a total narcissist. He's gone off the rails and everyone is like, you know, everyone is like talking about, you know, how he's gone off the rails. So my other friend, Mark, he got totally wasted at après ski and he just stood up and he started ranting. He was like, we got to take the sign out of the window. We got to take the sign out of the window, you know? So it's like, you got to find a way to like talk about Davos, but not talk about Davos, you know? Because if you say Davos, if you say Donald Trump, they're going to flag you. But if you work out how to talk about it. So for instance, I have a roster of boyfriends, Elon, Mark, Peter. These are my boyfriends. And I update you on what my boyfriends are up to all the time. That's not political content. That's dating content. Do you understand? My boyfriend, Peter, is doing the weirdest thing. He's like obsessed with his little game. See, we can still get information out there instead of abandoning the app, because there will come a point where there is no media that isn't somewhat like everyone's like, oh my God, independent media. It's so important. I've always been a big supporter of traditional media because you have an editor, you have a fact checker, you have a legal team. All of these things are really important to doing good journalism. Everyone who's like, yeah, independent media, they're not, you know, they're not corporately owned. They're not, okay, but you also have people like Nick fucking Shirley. Yeah? Okay, so how about the 50 million people on Blue Sky suddenly have a boyfriend called Dom? That's what I'm saying. We all have a boyfriend called Dom. We're all in this sick, twisted, toxic relationship with this boy named Dom. No, I'm not saying that. You can't make me say things. I'm not your slave. Okay, there were some things I wanted to talk to you about that were not Epstein related, but important for us to discuss. Okay? Just more of me being bright. You gay now? Yeah, we all have a boyfriend named Don. I didn't choose this for you. Okay. I just really quickly want to talk about
this year, though.
Thank you. I'm actually getting my hair done on Tuesday. So when I come back, everyone has to compliment my hair. Even if I hate it, we all just have to, because hair is expensive. You know why hair is expensive? Because I have black hair. My hair is naturally dark brown. But I decided to create a brand around being a blonde. Did you see the Read Max article on it, pussies? I kind of want to read through that. I haven't read it yet, but I want to talk about this.
National unity is getting sort of front and center treatment. A lot of reaction today, both online and from some of the politicians who are gathering here on Parliament Hill, to this story reported by the Financial Times that there have been meetings between separatist leaders. Those are people in Alberta who are trying to organize a petition in order to get a referendum started on the possibility of Alberta leaving the Canadian.
I told you. That's why. Yay! Silly serious clips. I told you he was coming for Canada. I told you that he would do it by going after the separatists in Alberta. And you all said, no, Canada's really gone against Trump. It's okay. And I said, okay, I'm willing to believe you. But if he does, in fairness, he told us to go after Canada. I know, but many didn't believe. Hang on. Let me show you, you non-believers. Just give me a second. It's been literally 10 years since I've been a brunette. You watch
Federation, something like we've had in Quebec in 1995 and in 1980 before that. Two referendums. Second one, the no side just narrowly won to prevent Quebec from leaving Canada. But the Financial Times says that there have been these meetings between some of these people, some of the organizers of this drive, and senior members of the Trump administration. And remember, last week we were talking about the fact that Scott Bessent, who is Trump's Treasury Secretary and has been very vocal critic of Canada, of the Prime Minister Mark Carney, since Carney's remarks at Davos, calling for middle powers like Canada to kind of work together to offset the hegemony of, that is the use of their economic and military power by the United States to sort of exert its will around the world. Trump didn't like it, and now members of his cabinet are going out there and saying that this is happening. And of course, Bessent talked about, in those comments, I
thought it would be Quebec too, but the reason Alberta is the one he's going to go after is because Alberta has the, I don't like that phrase.
hearing rumors about separatism.
There we go. Alberta has the natural resources. Alberta is also right next to Alaska, so it's easier to take Alberta as the 51st state. And then you fuck the rest of Canada, right? Because Alberta is the energy supply for most of Canada. So Quebec is easy because French Canadians are easy to piss off, I suppose. But Alberta is the prize. And Alberta also complain about the fact that they're the ones that... Alberta, if you're an Australian, Alberta is the Western Australia of Canada, right? They're like, all of their natural resources are here. We make all the money, and yet Sydney New South Wales get the fuck... That's how they feel about Quebec. They're entitled all the way over there. We do all the work. Alberta's the prize. Alberta has the natural resources.
In Alberta, of course, it's not rumors. You can turn on the news and listen to any reporting from Alberta. This is a thing that's happening now. The level of support seems to be low, but this has really angered a lot of folks online and some of the premiers as well. You'll hear from in a moment, who are not happy about the idea that these people are going down there and essentially asking the Trump administration for help getting Alberta to leave Canada. And they've apparently, according to some of this reporting, have asked for a $500 billion U.S. line of credit.
Babster, I know you're probably being 100% legitimate and serious. The Montreal Mafia is a phrase I've never heard, and it is immediately very funny to me.
To help Alberta, should it leave Canada to kind of keep the lights on in that interim period as it tries to establish itself as, presumably, a sovereign nation. David Eby, the Premier of British Columbia, was asked about this. So too was Ontario Premier Doug Ford. Listen to what they had to say.
Now, I understand the desire to hold a referendum, to talk about the issues you want to talk about in Canada. We got free speech, that's important. But to go to a foreign country and to ask for assistance.
Just go to a foreign country. Why does he sound like you're going to cry?
In breaking up Canada, there's an old-fashioned word for that, and that word is treason. It is completely inappropriate to seek to weaken Canada, to seek to go and ask for assistance to break up this country.
I don't know about treason. It's unacceptable. It's unethical. I'm a little disappointed that they've done this, but this is an opportunity for Premier Smith to stand up and say enough is enough.
David Eby calls it treason. Doug Ford not so clear, but they are echoing some of the comments. You're seeing a lot of this online, people saying this is sedition, that these people are traitors and they should be charged, and possibly some people calling for them to be hanged, even though we don't hang people for treason anymore in this country. And it's also a very unlikely that what was
Would it be that nuts? Just do it.
done, these people from Alberta going there and making representations to the U.S. State Department would qualify as treason. Generally, we treat cases of treason only if they involve some kind of acts of violence, either against elected officials or against our Canadian forces. The last time anyone in Canada, any Canadian was convicted for treason goes back to the Second World War, when somebody who was fighting with the Japanese army was tried and hanged in Hong Kong. Nothing since then. So really unlikely anything is going to go forward with on that end of it, although this remains a problem the premiers are very likely discussing. Yesterday, Saskatchewan's Premier Scott Moe, speaking to reporters,
Feel like they know that behind the scenes it's not obvious. I mean, Trump said that he's been saying he's going to do it since he got into office. He's been literally calling them the 51st state. He was referring to the prime minister as governor. Like, physically splits Canada in two. That's a great point, pussies. I just feel like Alberta is the obvious choice. Do I think it's possible? Did I think it would be possible to kidnap Maduro in a single night and just be like, oh, by the way, we're giving Venezuela to the oil companies? No, I didn't even consider it. To be honest, I didn't consider that to be an option. So, do I think it's possible that Trump steals Alberta somehow? I don't know. Who am I to hazard a guess like that?
he was asked about this, and he said, yes, there is even some separatist sentiments in his province in Saskatchewan, but Moe didn't think it was a particularly pressing concern.
I've always been clear that me and our United Conservative Caucus are
They have a lady premier?
supportive of a strong and sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. That is one of the bills that we passed when I first came in. But I think we also have to be realistic that 10 years under Justin Trudeau's government, our province was relentlessly attacked. Our economy was relentlessly attacked, not only for our economy, but our provincial rights and also our personal freedoms and our way of life. And so when you look at the polls, they suggest as many as 30% of Albertans have lost hope. That's about 1 million people. And I'm not going to demonize or marginalize a million of my fellow citizens when they've got legitimate grievances. What we need...
She's very smart for this, to be honest, because she may be awful, but if she's like, this is not a serious thing, the last thing you want to do is like feed the beast of those 1 million angry people. You have to be like, they're legitimate and they're correct.
To do is we need to give Albertans hope. We need to show them not just tell them, not just words, but with actions that Canada can work. And that's what I've been doing. That's why I signed an agreement with the Prime Minister in November so that we could work in common cause on correcting some of the mistakes, I would say, of the Trudeau government. And it's why we participate in these kinds of First Ministers' conferences so that we...
Exactly. Quiet victories, exactly. But, you know, gay merchant, they might be like, we're getting a special deal. We're finally getting valued for our natural resources and our work. You know, Trump's going to be like, if Trump starts talking the Alberta game, like if Trump starts like if he's able to provoke the separatists enough that he feels it's an actual option and he starts talking to them, he's going to say, we're going to treat you so special. You're going to be the most special state. You're going to have such special things. He's going to make it seem like they're going to get the sweetest deal you've ever heard in your life.
We can find the things that we agree on and work together for that, for the betterment of the country. And I think this is a very powerful table that has been able to do that for the last 3 years that I've been on it. And I'm honored and delighted to be here.
I fully associate myself with Premier Smith's comments just then.
Can I just say, I made a joke about her being a woman. I actually delivered a paper at the European Conference for Gender and Politics on the smiling face of fascism and putting women into leadership in fascist movements. So I know I do love women and supporting women, but I want you to know, I know what they're up to. Okay. I can spot a baddie. Thank you so much, Piano.
I expect the U.S. administration to respect Canadian sovereignty. I'm always clear in my conversation with President Trump to that effect, and then move on to what we can do together.
I'm happy you brought up your conversations with the president. I'd like to ask, in those conversations, has he ever raised the prospect of...
I know everyone has one, but I do just want you to know that Mark Carney also has a photo with Jeffrey Epstein.
Alberta or Quebec separation?
No.
Have you raised concerns about the administration's comments, Mr. Besson's comments, as well as these meetings, with anyone from the Trump administration?
Ali, we read the judge's order. You must have missed it, but you should go and read it because it's so good.
Channels to raise those concerns. I haven't I mean, these comments are within the past 24, 48 hours. I don't have a running commentary on everything the administration does. I stand by what I just said about respecting our sovereignty, our expectations of the U.S. administration, and the clarity with which I've always expressed that directly to the president.
This is a country my grandparents fought for.
Can the Canadians in the chat give me a sense of British Columbia? Are we liberal? Are we like, what's British Columbia up to? I don't know. I get a sense of Alberta. I get a sense of Quebec. You don't need to apologize for falling asleep. If there's one thing I am a strong proponent of, it's sleep, it's naps, it's lying down. I think one should lie down whenever possible. If I could stream from my bed with you guys like on my laptop on my chest, I think I would stream 24/7. Okay, so coastal elites. Yeah, I'm getting that vibe. Like, look at this tie. It's giving money I didn't earn.
Many people before them.
It's giving, I have a job where I get a lot of coffee with my colleagues.
Helped to build. It's made up of First Nations who have been here since time immemorial, as well as immigrants who just got off the airplane today with hearts full of hope of their new adopted country. This is a country we have to fight for. And there are lots of people who would like to take it from us. We need to express in this moment.
They should stop this man from talking. He's upsetting the Albertans. I can feel it. I can feel it from here. He's too upset.
Especially when the country faces such a profound threat. We need to express that we will fight for this country, that we'll stand up for it. And that those who don't wish to, those who would solicit a foreign government to try to come in and take over our country or break it up, that's not part of our vision for Canada. That's not Canadian conduct. And in fact, that is, I described it as an old-fashioned word because we haven't had to use it for a long time. In my opinion, that is treasonous activity, and it needs to be called out. It needs to be stopped.
Don't. They're going to be like, yeah, we're the treasoners.
Now, I'm not talking about debates that we have inside the country among Canadians about how we order ourselves, our relationships between the federal government and the provinces, referenda that might be held. I'm talking about crossing the border, soliciting the assistance of a foreign government to break up this country, and I don't think we should stand for it.
Okay, cool. That's our Canada news. Okay. Now, I do need to show you something that is just to prove that I'm not a liar. I think you'll be shocked by some things that I have to show you. Okay. This is me as a small child. That is the color of my hair naturally. Okay. Now, let me just show you. This is me with my best friend in year 12. That is my natural hair color. As you can see, very, very dark. This is my natural hair color. I am also this pale, and let's not talk about the eyebrows. Don't know. Don't know. Can't explain it. Don't know. And then finally, just so you can see it from a further out angle, around the same time, this is me. This is my hair. My dark, dark, dark brown hair. So this is my natural hair. I don't know why I branded my... Spiritually, I am blonde, okay? I've never felt more myself than as a blonde. I don't resonate with being a brunette. So this is who I am. I just wish it didn't cost me so much money to be who I am. The eyebrows. I need to get a taller chair. Okay, that's on the agenda for tomorrow. Fixed chair. Okay, what we're going to do... Why didn't you get a tall glass of ice cream in the first picture? Because I'm not the youngest child. I'm not the favorite. I'm the oldest daughter. Okay. You just saw, pussies. That's my hair. That's my natural hair. Dark, dark brown. Every time I go to the hairdresser, they're like, God, your hair takes forever to lift. Because it is so dark. It doesn't want to be blonde. But I insist. Because this is the thing, and I am going to get back to politics, but this is an important thing for us to quickly discuss. You can tell when someone isn't spiritually a blonde. Right? Like, I am a blonde. I'm a blonde. There are some people, like when Aubrey Plaza went blonde, she's not a blonde. Her heart's not in it. She shouldn't be a blonde. Right? Yeah. How many siblings? This is always one of those really uncomfortable questions because I never know quite how to... Okay. I'm one of 5, but 2 of my siblings have passed away. So I'm one of 3 in a sense, but I'm one of 5. Okay, I really want to read this piece from Read Max on the penguin. Okay. We're going to read on the penguin. This is from Read Max. I like Read Max. Let me just get my... Yeah. It's all right, guys. I, in many ways, am like the penguin, except instead of the penguin wandering away, everyone wanders away from me. And by wanders away, I mean dies. You have to have a sense of humor about it. There comes a point where you must. Okay, guys, please, we're going to talk about the suicidal penguin. please. Okay. Way back in September 2016, the blogger and speechwriter Michael Anton, who will be familiar to you if you follow my work because I think he's very evil. I do. I mentioned him in my video on Greenland because he was super into that, and I mentioned him in my Dark Gothic Malaga video. Way back in September 2016, the blogger and speechwriter Michael Anton wrote a now famous essay for the Claremont Review called The Flight 93 Election. Terrible essay. Definitely should read it if you want to have nightmares. Okay. In which he argued that voting for Donald Trump was akin to charging the cockpit of a hijacked plane in the same manner as the heroic passengers of Flight 93, which crashed in Pennsylvania instead of hitting its intended target in D.C. on September 11. The risks are high. You might die. The plane might crash. But if you remain in your seat, an even worse fate is guaranteed. 2016 is the Flight 93 election. Charge the cockpit or you die. You may die anyway. You, or the leader of your party, may make it into the cockpit and not know how to fly or land the plane. There are no guarantees. Except one. If you don't try, death is certain. To compound the metaphor, a Hillary Clinton presidency is Russian roulette with a semi-auto. With Trump, at least you can spin the cylinder and take your chances. I'm not even kidding. This was published. And this is one of those smart conservatives, you know what I mean? I wouldn't personally endorse it, but Flight 93 election has been useful over the years for understanding a rational core of MAGA. For people like Anton, voting for Trump is a logical, justifiable, even sane choice. The high-risk, unknown outcome over the guaranteed bad one. I'll admit, as an argument, it's overwrought and hysterical, and in real life, Flight 93 did crash and kill everyone on board. But it's a metaphor, right? The point is that Trump offers a high-risk alternative to a deadly flight path. Not that it would be cool or heroic to crash a plane in the middle of the field and die, right? The odd afterlife of skycanning. Planes, for whatever reason, loom large in the American political imaginary. In addition to the Flight 93 election and its inescapable liberal mirror, the Will McPhail cartoon of a passenger's... I don't know what this is. Great, Facebook. What's the bet it doesn't let me in? Oh, here we go. But I can't see the... Let me see the... No. Why? Oh. Let me see what it says. Oh, these smug pilots have lost touch with regular passengers like us. Oh, okay. There we go. Very fun. Inescapable liberal mirror, the Will McPhail cartoon of a passenger on a commercial flight standing up and saying, these smug pilots have... Oh, I hate it. These smug pilots have lost touch with regular passengers like us. Who thinks I should fly the plane? We have Richard Russell, the 28-year-old ground crew worker who stole a de Havilland turboprop plane from a Seattle-Tacoma International Airport in 2018. That was crazy. That was insane. After flying for an hour with an escort of 2 F-15s scrambled from Portland Air National Guard Base and chatting amiably with the air traffic control, he crashed into the Puget Sound, killing himself. Russell's plane heist was not an explicitly political act. The closest thing to a motivation for the baffling sequence of events provided by Russell, or those who knew him, was bad working conditions and low pay at SeaTac. But neither Russell nor his co-workers seemed to find such an explanation particularly satisfying. Russell himself told ATC, I'm just a broken guy, got a few screws loose I guess, never really knew until now. That's when you watch something on that, it's literally so crazy. And yet Russell, re-anointed Sky King, has become an odd, semi-ironic folk hero in the years since his suicide to the disaffected, highly online young right-wing men who make up among Trump's most vocal and dependable demographics. To these guys, Channers, Groypers, aging gamergators, anime avatars, X.com blue checks, etc., Russell's stunt resonates as an act of courage and agency undertaken by a man otherwise overlooked, thwarted, and frustrated by life. Images from his final flight edited into motivational posted. Just a broken guy. In this era of anger and outrage where people lash out at societies by shooting up schools and concerts, one man just wanted to do a barrel roll. It's so sad. Better to live one day as a pilot than 100 years as a baggage handler. This is going to make me cry. I'm not going out there to die. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive. Damn. People are so odd though. I would not know how to land it. I wasn't really planning on landing it. Sorry, my mic came off. I threw up a little bit. I'm sorry about this. I hope this doesn't ruin your day. Just flying around the plane. You seem comfortable with that? Oh, hell yeah. It's a blast. I've played video games before, so, I know what I'm doing a little bit. Okay. And you can see all the terrain around you. You've got no issues with visibility or anything? Nah, everything's peachy. Peachy clean. Did a little circle around Rainier. It's beautiful. I think I've got some gas to check out the Olympics. Damn it, Andrew. People's lives are at stake here. Ah, Rich, don't say stuff like that. I don't want to hurt no one. I just want to whisper sweet nothings I just want you to whisper sweet nothings into my ear. The cult of Sky King is subscribed to widely enough that last year Georgia Republican Congressman Mike Collins, or presumably one of his weird little staffers, tweeted a tribute to Russell from his X account. Very strange behavior, guys. Between Flight 93 and Sky King, the Republican Party now enjoys in circulation two prominent and horrible plane crash tragedies as allegories for its politics, which seems like too many deaths by plane crash for a political party. And where the Flight 93 election is legibly rational and defensively logical, offering up a likely suicide as the only alternative to certain death, the Sky King mythos reduces to no such rationality. It takes spectacular suicide as a heroic act in and of itself. Guys, my jaw is so fucked from clavicular looks maxing. I really think I fucked it forever. Do not do anything ironically ever. You will ruin your life. It's so sore. The Nietzschean penguin wants you to kill yourself. The Nietzschean penguin wants you to kill yourself. The Herzogian penguin wants you dead. Online, among the tech right and Groyper true believers, Trumpism in its late stages has devolved into what X.com user Vivian Cassandra calls suicide rightism, an ideology whose cultural touchstones and heroic myths reflect values not of calculated risk or noble self-sacrifice, but of literal suicide, pointless, sensational acts of total self-destruction. Suicide rightism, your next governing ideology. Most recently prominent of these is a penguin. Last week, the Department of Homeland Security tweeted an edited clip from the Werner Herzog documentary Encounters at the End of the World that had recently found sudden viral success on TikTok. A lone, broken penguin breaking away from its pack and waddling purposefully towards certain death. The trans-Antarctic mountains looming in the distance. But why? But why? Herzog asks. But why? Herzog asks. On TikTok, the penguin was imbued with the same quasi-ironic, inspirational qualities as Sky King. A number of videos of mountain hikes ending in great views were posted with the caption, "Be that penguin." And one can imagine, it's getting late. And one can imagine a relatively innocuous US government adaptation. Americans love the idea of crazy dreamers, hardy individualists, and maverick visionaries waddling towards the horizon against the advice of busybodies. But in general, like those stories to end with success and accomplishment. But in general, they like those stories to end with success and accomplishment, not death by exposure. Americans have always known why, DHS tweeted, as though presenting a patriotic version of Apple's Think Different ad campaign. But its version of the clip ended not with a spectacular vista validating the Penguin's dreams, but with a fan cam of Donald Trump and the militarized federal law enforcement he had unleashed as a murderous masked militia on ordinary people in the country. Does this not even work anymore?
The one in the center. He would neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
So loud, sorry guys.
But one of them caught our eye.
That shit fucking disgusts me. Has Werner Herzog made a statement, by the way? Can anyone let me know? Because he's actually a very online guy. He's on socials a lot. As with Russell, and again, unlike Flight 93, the choice here is not between high-risk heroism and passive decline, but between certain life and certain death. You can dress up Sky King and the Penguin in whatever Nietzschean self-help dross you want, but the Trump administration is, as always, happy to make the subtext text. The Penguin rocks because it's killing itself in beautiful full-color video, just like us. Killdozer! Guys, it's a sign that Girldozer must come back. Killdozer is what inspired Girldozer's name. This is a huge deal. Killdozer inspired Girldozer. This is a sign. I'm going to clip this moment and send it to Pixel. This is all the sign we need. Girldozer must return. Killdozer mentioned, in the wild, sighted. Killdozer destroyed a town, but he inspired a lot of people, so it's impossible to say if he's bad or not. I am not so far removed from being 17 that I can't recognize, dimly, the romantic appeal of stealing a plane just to do a barrel roll, or the rousing pull of a visionary penguin heading into the unknown. But the vaguely apolitical, ironically motivational heroism of Sky King and the Nietzschean penguin are only the most palatable fables of suicide rightism. Damn it, another one of my heroes. She had to have surgery, so we couldn't record because she's been sick. Right-winger here. My heroes are the bipolar man who hijacked an airplane to kill himself, the penguin that malfunctioned and wandered off to die in the wilderness, and the Japanese rider who killed himself. I believe everyone should have more babies. Much less defensible are heroes like, say, Yukio Mishima, the Japanese writer and ultranationalist who committed ritual suicide after a failed military coup, or Marvin Himaya. He's my hero, but I don't know how to say his last name. Also known as Killdozer, the muffler repairman who drove an armored tank through Granby, Colorado, destroying 13 buildings before shooting himself in the head. Mishima at least wrote great novels. The best thing you can say about Himaya, a small-town paranoid crank, well, that's already the best thing you can say about Himaya. I love me a small-town paranoid crank. In fact, when it comes to living in a small town, the paranoid crank may be one of my favorite characters. The small-town paranoid crank who attributed property disputes and bureaucratic red tape to a grand conspiracy aimed directly at him is that he was lucky enough not to kill anyone during his day-long tantrum. I also love a day-long tantrum. And you want me to not like this man. You're telling me he's not likable. Because a small-town crank, paranoid crank who throws a day-long tantrum is exactly up my alley. And believes the government is conspiring specifically against him? Absolutely. And yet Killdozer has developed a sizable army of sensitive apologists. Uh-oh. Who see him as an icon of, oh, this is it. Of course. Okay. So you know how I told you that my most right-wing opinion is that I'm a Waco truther? It's like the little sprinkle. I'm like a big, beautiful, for the most part, like I'm like a swirl sundae of like leftism and liberalism. Because I'm a pluralist, I don't believe that one ideology has all the answers, but so I have leftism and liberalism in this beautiful swirl sundae, and then I just have some little libertarian sprinkles on top. Just a little bit of libertarianism for fun. So when I'm a right wing, it's just a little bit of libertarianism, just a little bit of sprinkle a little bit down on top, and I'm doing it here. So this makes sense to me. As an icon for petulant, self-destructive libertarianism. And my libertarianism is always petulant and self-destructive, by the way. We will be watching all the videos.
A bulldozer levels a building in Granby, Colorado. Then another. And another. It's part of a meticulously planned citywide demolition project.
The bulldozer went crazy.
But this plan wasn't put together by city engineers or construction workers.
Just received a 911 call reporting that there is an out-of-control bulldozer.
I know the limits of my sprinkles, Matthew. Because the real dish is the ice cream. You go too crazy on the sprinkles on toppings, it ruins everything. We don't need to watch the whole Killdozer thing, but just so you know, I also just admire the spirit of someone who is willing to do this. I can't do anything without worrying about how it's going to affect even people I don't know. Like, oh, that might make so-and-so slightly distressed. It's like, this guy's like, the government regulating me? I'm going to destroy this fucking town. There's something about that. Killdozer has more explicitly political valiance than Sky King, and Hema was much more clearly aggressive and dangerous figure than Russell, even if their respective joyrides resulted in the same body counts. But to the commandos of the suicide right, their stories are effectively the same. They are intelligent, reasonable men pushed to their limits. What else were they supposed to do besides take their own lives in an eye-popping fashion? Suicide rightism. One of the striking things about suicide rightism is how soy it is. How mewling, wounded, and self-pitying. For all that Russell and Heimer, I'm saying Heimer, okay, that's my chosen, are celebrated by their apologists for their warped expressions of agency, they are ultimately regarded as victims. Men thwarted by an uncaring and corrupt society. The idea of many tweets about the heroic suicides is that you should be able to identify with them, and not as crazy dreamers, but as depressed and resentful losers. The aspirational figures of suicide rightism are a guy so anhedonic that he felt compelled to leave behind his family for the sake of an hour-long plane ride, and a guy so antisocial he built a tank to visit ruin on a local general store. Fascism is literally suicide ideology, one obsessed with purging the body politic to the point of total self-negation. What's funny about suicide rightism is how direct it is about all of this. You don't need some big theoretical analysis. There's no level of abstraction to move through. It's just pretty straightforwardly pro-suicide. I don't think you have to be a professional psychologist to understand why dramatic, attention-grabbing suicide might be appealing to semi-employed guys who spend 14 hours a day watching Asmongold or whatever. Comes out of nowhere, that hit. Its promise is that all the pain and frustration you feel can be visited on people you believe authored it and then end it. So school shooter ideology as well. And incel ideology. Not to put too fine a point on it, but this... Oh! I swear to God I hadn't read that yet, but it's right there. Not to put too fine a point on it, but this is school shooter ideology. And the suicide right case for Trump is that he gets this. The DHS tweet of the penguin meme belies any positive vision of MAGA. The reward for supporting him isn't an American renaissance, it's universal oblivion. He and ICE and the CBP are the armored bulldozer, giving you the chance to kill immigrants and liberal white women and male nurses before you put the gun in your own mouth. His administration is the plane, just waiting for you to get inside. I guess 2024 was the Flight 93 election after all. Turns out we got the certain death. Man, that's really positive. A really happy note. I have never watched Asmongold ever because his filthiness really disturbs me on a deep, deep, deep level. I think I told you guys I have OCD. I did go through a phase where the doctor insisted I stop showering because I was having like 8 a day and it was causing my skin to have a reaction. So the idea of watching Asmongold makes me very upset. But I did also think that Asmongold and Moist Critical were the same person. So I guess I'm just not that online. I just don't really care about boys. I'm not going to watch boys. Not going to spend my time on it. Yeah. Anyway, I think go to this website, just again, Gmail World. Okay, I don't know why it's not working for me right now. I wonder if I put it in Opera. Oh, this is Opera. God damn it. I don't know why this isn't working the way I want it to work. Oh, look. Oh, Joichi Aito. Netflix, Jeffrey Epstein. So this is what they were preparing for. Right? That interview we were watching. Dear Peggy, my good friend Eleonora reached out to you on my behalf and appreciated wanting to hear more about the project. I'm a TV journalist who covered Epstein's story for several years and wrote a best-selling book about him with James Patterson in 2016. Jim Patterson and I are now consulting on a 4-hour Netflix documentary series tentatively set to air toward the end of the year. The showrunner Lisa Bryant is working with director Joe Berlinger, whose work I am sure you're familiar with, to produce a fair and balanced, in-depth recounting of the Epstein saga that, as you know, has every possible dramatic angle. We thought, blah, 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 but this... We thought of you because of your remarkable reputation in public relations and showbiz world and the fact that you're an acquaintance of Jeffrey Epstein. The tawdry side of his story has been told. We hope you can give us some insight and context into who he was before his life fell apart. I'm sure Lisa Bryant, Joe Berlinger and James Patterson would all make themselves available to get on a call with you this week. Jim is in Florida. Joe is traveling overseas for his Ted Bundy film. You know that's great. When the people who want to make a film about you are also making a film about Ted Bundy. Lisa is in New York, and I would be happy to meet you. Lisa is in New York and would be happy to meet you in person, as would I. Thanks for your consideration. And then I assume Jeffrey, how much do you know about this? When can I call you tomorrow? I know nothing, but have friends at Netflix. Eleonora Kennedy called me today out of the blue and told me the filmmakers wanted to talk to me. I know the director. Berlinger's a bit of a hack. When you get a moment, give me a call. Patterson book on me a flop, and his work with Clinton worse. He's old but has a name. There's also John Connolly. He's on it as well. Steve Bannon. Patterson, the perversion of justice team, and the guy making the Ted Bundy film. Seems like a potential hagiography. Okay, so this wasn't. I want to know if that's what they ended up doing, getting ready though for the See, I've lost my ability to speak, though. Top stories for you. Is Denmark going corrupt? What the fuck? But yeah, I encourage you all to use this website to read through, because it just it's the way they've dumped the files is intentional, right? because they want it to be messy and difficult to go through. So anything that sort of cleans things up, I'm fairly sure Cryptodamus, who does a lot of work on the underbelly of crypto, has also created a really simple GitHub type website to help go through the text messages. So this is for this. Hang on, let me just... Oh, guys, it's me. You're just looking at me and I never showed you. That's just brilliant. This website. Sorry. I didn't know. It's this one, gmail.world. Oh, sorry, jmail.world. www.jmail.world. So 404, yeah, I can share the link. 404 Media have set it up so that it's like a Gmail inbox with the emails. Everything is set up. So down the side here, it's got correspondence with different people who might be of interest. The starred section has emails that might be of interest, right? That are particularly... Alan Dersh, huh? Ugh. And then, sorry, I'm just going back to Big Joe for one moment while I get this website, because I don't want you looking at my stuff, my secret stuff. And I know you want to look at my secret stuff, but you cannot. Do you know what's crazy? I'm really tall, right? Like, I'm like 5'10". I'm 5'9", but I read as 5'10". I don't know how to explain that, right? But in my family, everyone calls me Little Joe because there's another Joe who's older than me. So even now, at my great height, I'm Little Joe. Hang on. Yeah, so this isn't the cleanest website, but this also allows you to go through text messages, and then there are a few other websites linked on that website that can take you through to other stuff. For those of you who want to go through and do your own research, do your own research, guys, come on. These are the text messages, all that sort of stuff. Alrighty, guys. It is 5:16 a.m. in Australia. That means it's time for me to go night-night. Yeah, it has to happen at some point. Sorry, guys. I know I keep sending you links that look redoink. I like to show you where I'm doing my work. Okay. Good night. Thank you for your support. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for everyone who invested in my crypto morality moral coin, the world's first crypto morality. Anyone who wants to support me by investing in my crypto morality, it's appreciated. Thank you to all of you. And I'll see you probably not tomorrow, probably Tuesday night my time, so Tuesday morning you time. And bye guys. I'm going to watch me finish